The European leg of the Gfinity Supercars Eseries started with a bang.
What a frantic start!
Once the dust settled, the Walkinshaw-Andretti United pairing of Josh Rogers and Jared Filsell cleared out in front.
Wow, this is getting really aggressive between the teammates.
The championship leaders were a class above.
Good driving, Jared Filsell, and he will be cruising to a victory.
Trading race wins at the Nürburgring and Zandvoort before a final race showdown at Imola.
Josh Rogers, out of nowhere, is fighting for second, and he's going to get it done on the outside.
Back in the pack, the rivalry was just as intense.
Has to have a dive, surely the hairpin.
Oh.
He does. Oh, the block was almost up there. That is an awesome move.
He's coming around the outside.
That was like
he's
really
into him.
out of control, and they banged doors.
But in the end, there was no denying Rogers his 5th win of the season.
And he'll celebrate all the way to the checkered flag.
Tonight, there's no margin for error as drivers tackle 3 iconic British circuits to bridge the gap on Rogers and keep their series hopes alive. Fresh off the back of a huge weekend at Sandown, the Supercars are rolling straight into the Gfinity Supercars Eseries. It's brought to you by Shannon's. Welcome to round 5, second last round for 2019. We've got 3 big British tracks on the menu. Very much looking forward to this one. Bryony Ingerson's in the studio here live in Gfinity as always. Going live from Sydney tonight with Brad Jones Racing's Nick Percat. Welcome down, Nick.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here, mate. You've got a runner in the field, as I said last week, but for you guys, it's Jake Burton, the West Aussie. He's going all right this year.
Yeah, Jake is doing a good job. It's good to see he's thrown in some big lunges in the last couple of rounds. He's been pretty consistent, so he's doing a good job for us.
But on the other side of the scale, it's the Walkinshaw-Andretti United drivers, Bryony, who are doing very big things in this series. They currently sit 1-2.
Yeah, absolutely. But we've dropped the 2 worst rounds for everyone now. So it's evened up a little bit. I think there's 150 points on offer tonight, and there's about 3 or 4 or 5 drivers that are inside that 150 points. So there's still plenty to play for. And I just want to thank Nick Percat for coming along tonight, because I heard that it's actually Tinder Tuesday. So thank you for taking time out of your busy social schedule.
Is the sacrifices.
Bryony's getting in there early tonight.
She's gone personal, and I like it.
She saves it to the last seg to start digging into our guests.
Thank you for being here. Obviously, Saturday and Sunday is sim racing. Saturday and Sunday for you, because
well, there is a big Tuesday night league that happens as well for our sim racing fans. The Just Send It League.
Is this a Tinder league or an on-rain league?
Let's check out the championship points, shall we? That's a great idea. Let's find out exactly how that's looking at the moment. Josh Rogers doing a very good job at the moment. Jared Filsell actually closed that championship picture up to just 66 points at the last race now that they've dropped their worst. Dane Warren, he was the big mover, up 3 spots from 6th to 3rd. Jake Burton dropping down to 4th. Madison Down still in there having a pretty good run. Muggleton and Hobson swapped spots down in 11th and 12th. Emily Jones sitting steady at the moment in 10th. It's hard to really look past these 2 Walkinshaw-Andretti United stars at the moment, particularly Josh Rogers, just 19 years of age. It was a strange one. So last week, Nick, he picked up a drive-through for speeding in pit lane, so finished last for the first time, but could drop a race, and then just came out and blitzed the next 2 races and won them both.
Yeah, I saw his pit lane infringement, and I wasn't really sure what happened. And then
we at the time. Turns out it was speeding on pit road, and then continued that Form 1.
Exactly, and if you're going to finish last in any race, it was obviously the one where he started on the front row of the reverse grid race, which was the next one. So yeah, really impressive job by both Walkinshaw-Andretti United drivers, I think, last week. Josh, obviously the class of the field. Dane Warren, though, I reckon he's knocking on his first race win. Impressive to see that he's 3rd in the championship and is yet to win a race. So obviously consistency has been really key for him. But yeah, we're obviously expecting another big battle between Josh and Jared tonight, you'd imagine. Yeah,
I've been really enjoying the 2 teammate battles that we've been getting at the moment, because they've not been afraid to race each other pretty hard. So for Jared Filsell in particular, who has been knocking on the door of multiple race wins but just hasn't been able to get the best of his teammate. He's picked up a couple wins already, but that gap is out to 60 points, and it all started there. Turn 1 at the Nürburgring. Your boy backing it in sideways down there.
He knew that was the time to make up the ground, so good on him. But I wonder if we could get a bit like Tickford here, like in the main game in the real life, with the 2 teammates. They could start wiping each other out.
A bit of controversy maybe out there.
That'd be good.
We had that in the co-driver race even, so it spread to all elements.
Exactly.
So this was pretty exciting. Jared Filsell beating Dane Warren by just that much. It was actually pretty, not sneaky, but very well thought out. So what he did is he knew where he qualified. He then went and did a private test session before the race started after qualifying, so he could start in that grid box to get his braking distance for turn 1. That's how much he had thought about what he was going to do before that race.
That's a dedicated race, Nick. You should take.
You should try it,
honestly.
Newcastle.
Do you reckon they'll let me just like line up on whatever grid spot? Just roll it out.
Just roll out. That's what he did.
Yeah, that's
private
good.
test moment, and
That's
it worked.
good commitment though.
Worked a treat. If you do that, I'll give you a Shannon's classic moment shout out, just like we're about to give for tonight and our $500 winners. So checking this one out, and it went to Brad Jones Racing, and $500 to Jake Burton, and that was a sweet move. Got it done, backed her on up into the hairpin. So he wins $500, but the news gets even better for someone, and it's Jason Cozzi from Preston to Victoria, because he also wins $500. So nicely done, Jason. Hopefully going to come up and enjoy the party with us at Newcastle with his newly found $500, but that was a pretty sweet move.
That was a really good move, and it was easy. He even like faked a little bit to the right, then got the car square enough so he could brake well, and then just a little bit of rear lock into the hairpin, and out he went.
Perfect. We'll have 3 more moments tonight, Bryony.
Yeah, absolutely. 3 more chances to not only for us to nominate a Shannon's classic moment, but also for the people at home watching to nominate their favourite classic moment. And like you said, win $500 and come and be friends with us at the Coates High Newcastle 500 next week.
So we've got 3 British tracks tonight. Nick has raced on one of them. We are live on so many different platforms right now, from Fox Sports to YouTube to Twitch. But on the Facebook comment section, see if you can guess which one of these 3 tracks he's raced at. So Silverstone, Brands Hatch, Oulton Park. They're the 3 on the menu tonight. Before we reveal, let's check out an onboard lap of Silverstone. It's a tricky circuit, particularly in a supercar. Take us for a ride, Nick. Tell us what we're looking at.
Yeah, so this circuit, it's very much designed for an open wheeler, so very long corners, very flowing circuit. So probably not the most fun in a supercar, because we like short, sharp corners, but you know,
this bit would probably be all right actually, because of the shortest, sharpest corners you'll get.
And there's going to be a lot of action after turn 1, 2 at the start of the race into 2 virtually hairpins for the supercars, and then you need a lot of traction off the loop heading up the Wellington Straight, so it's going to be interesting.
I think track limits, I know it's a dirty word in just about every form of motorsport, and particularly also E-Series, but this could play a part tonight. Not so much through here and at Luffield, which is the world's longest right-hander, but Copse, Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel Curve, that long list of S-bends. And they do have penalties built into iRacing for that, so we could see multiple seconds lost there.
Yeah, exactly. If you take a little bit too much through Maggots and Beckett's, which is where you're going to make a lot of time as well with using curbs, you get your penalty, but it's a spot to make up a lot of time. So we're approaching it now on this lap of the circuit, and you'll see there's the big sausage curbs where they can fly over them, like just through here there. If they were to hit that, they can take too much track there. Then this next left-right, which sets you up onto the hanger straight, is seriously important. So you need good traction off here. Use all the road. Could get done for cutting if you use too much of it, and then try and line them up down into Stoke.
Jonathan found in testing it's a 3-second penalty through that part of the track alone if you get caught cutting the corners, and also the exit here. I think at the end of Stowe there's a chance if you take too much track on the left-hand side, so you need to be very careful with that. The end of Vale is where you'll find the pit entrance, so just on the right-hand side, as always, Bryony, pit stops tonight as well.
Yes, exactly. 1 compulsory pit stop per race. You can take your pit stop at any time apart from the last lap of the race, and it's 4 tyres for each driver, each car. These corners here, Copse, Maggots, Beckett's, it sounds like ingredients in a Harry Potter wizard potion or something,
very English.
doesn't it? It is very English, yes.
There's a huge amount of history behind all the corner names. We'll try and touch on some of those as well. And very historic.
I've got a fun fact. I'm not talking it up too much. Oh, here we go. I've got a fun fact for Oulton Park later on tonight, which may or may not
Don't hold your
involve...
breath. Last week's was a disappointment. Is it better than last week's fun fact? Is it funner?
It's not as... Yes. It's visually, it's not as exciting, but the information is.
That's good to know. Nick, would you consider yourself a sim racer?
I have a simulator at home.
Okay.
I have a nice SimWorks setup, but I'm terrible. Like, I think I'm like 6 seconds off these dudes when I just did those laps before. But yeah, I enjoy it. Like you said, we had that Tuesday night Just Send It where we all get on. Shane,
have a run.
Lachlan.
Do you pull that face when you're in the Just Send It League?
That's serious face. I reckon if we threw a bit of a camera at me at home, there'd be some serious faces going on, and chocolate, and my dog, and whatever else I can get there.
And when we spoke to Shane Van Gisbergen last week, he said he actually races on the sim with his race boots and gloves on. Do you do a similar thing?
No, I'm in my lounge room. What do you expect?
That's what I thought. I'm like, that's full nerd spec.
I run just the sock operation trackies. Yeah, and then just unlike full like chocolate chips, whatever drink.
Maybe you need
on.
to up your race attire, and that's why you're going
Get some
slower.
better results.
On the sim.
Maybe you should do some Logitech gear. How did you find the force feedback and the paddle shifters in particular?
Yeah, the Logitech stuff's really good. I've got a similar thing on mine at home, and the stainless steel paddles, they give you a lot of feel, and they're stiff enough so you know when it's in gear, and the pedals are quite good. The hardest thing in sim racing is actually stopping the car with the brakes, because you don't have any feeling through the seat or anything like that. So having a good pedal base there, which the Logitech has, is pretty key. So that was actually quite enjoyable on that.
Yeah, Nick actually requested as soon as we walked through the door, he's like, where's the sim and when can I get in it? That was pretty much how the conversation went. All right, qualifying, it's at Silverstone for the first race. We set them up off the grid in how they finished this one. Usual sort of suspects, I guess you'd say, at the top. Madison Down did a good job putting his car fourth. Outside of that, it was pretty much a run of Walkinshaw and the two Walkinshaw teammates in the Red Bull car.
Yeah, exactly. It was a Walkinshaw Andretti United sandwich with a Red Bull in between, which doesn't sound
healthy.
that delicious. Which is why I think this might be Dane Warren's best chance to score a race win here, starting off of the front row. He's been super aggressive the last couple of rounds, and I think he'll be wanting to capitalise, easy for me to say, off of the front row start for Silverstone.
Yeah, he's got to go now, hasn't he? I mean, he's nearly 2 races in points down at the moment, so he's got to try and pick up a couple of race wins tonight, close that gap, so expect him to be nice and aggressive. Another guy is in mathematical contention off the fact that he had a really good round one when we were live here at Gfinity. Madison Down, he's qualified 4th. Now we're going to check in with Madison right now. Can you hear us there, buddy?
Yeah, got you loud and clear.
That was a nice effort, mate. 4th. It's a long lap, Silverstone. How did you rate your quali lap?
Yeah, made a bit of a meal of it, actually, to be honest. I missed a few apexes, probably about 2 or 3 tenths left on the table, actually. So pretty confident we've got a strong race car, but nice to have the challenge car up the front anyway.
I've noticed the last few weeks, the aggression level's been going up a notch. We saw that at the Nürburgring Turn 1. Everyone was into it. Are we expecting more of that tonight?
Absolutely. Wide track, awkward corner radius at Turn 1, 2 and 3, and 4 potentially as well. So I'm a little bit scared, actually. Eyes forward for me, but I'm going to have to keep an eye in the mirror as well.
I know that you guys famously race each other almost nightly, but do you think Josh might have a bit of a target on his back tonight? He's got such a big points lead.
Absolutely. Josh has got everything to lose. Everyone else has got everything to gain. So especially Dane Warren, like you just mentioned, I think he'll be pretty aggressive on lap 1. But obviously I do need to be as well. I'm a long way back in points, need to score points, need to catch up.
All right, best of luck for the 3 races tonight. Silverstone is up first, Oulton Park, and then Brands Hatch, which was the track that Nick Percat has raced at before. We'll be able to ask him plenty of that later tonight when we go racing there. But we need a quick break before we go racing. We're going to check in and learn a bit more about Next Level Racing's Richard Hampstead.
I love the speed, I love the sound, but I also love the actual racing element. Like, it's almost like a chess match when you're trying to figure out what the guy behind you is going to do, how you're going to block him, how you're going to pass the guy in front. I saw it on TV and I sort of fell in love in a way. Like, I also grew up in Orange, which is right next to Bathurst, so there's a big motorsports culture out that way. So I think I'm grown from that. One of my role models would be Marcus Ambrose. I really loved how he was, just super dedicated. He was really focused on his craft. He's a really intense guy, but it really paid dividends in the results on track. There's an enormous amount of work that goes into setting up the car. Just like the real guys, we use Motec, we use telemetry, we get, shock histograms, we go through that, make sure they're right. Tyre pressures are critically important too. If you get out of a range of about 10 kPa, you'll be nowhere. So it's critically important to be in that setup window, just like you hear them talking about in real life. We do these races and we end up just sweating massively. We're not doing anything physical. It's just from the amount of concentration. Like, when you're trying to be, super consistent, hit every apex, every lap, it takes an enormous amount of concentration. You've got to know when to fight guys. You've got to know when to let them through. It's going to be about maximising points every round so you get the ultimate prize.
motoring enthusiast? Shannons are giving you the chance to win a trip to London and the 2020 Goodwood Revival, one of the biggest historic motorsport events in the world. Plus, tour through the English countryside in a Jaguar F-Pace for 15 days, visiting historic locations and unique motoring museums, with up to $5,000 spending money for eligible Shannons Club members. Plus, win a new Indian FTR 1200S motorcycle. To enter, get a quote on your special car, spouse's car, daily drive, your bike or home. Take out a new policy for even more chances of winning. Call Shannons on 13 46 46 or go online today.
The trophy is in the house, live from Gfinity Studios in Sydney. How cool does this thing look? It's very big as well in real life. It is a massive, massive prize. And who's going to be taking that home? There are just 6 races to go. And we are past now the point where you can drop your worst 2 races. So every result matters from here to the very last race at Bathurst. Here's how they line up. For race number 11, it's Silverstone. And we are ready to go racing north of London in Northamptonshire. And it is Walkinshaw Andretti United and Ryan's home. It's be just about Ryan's home track as well for Ryan Walkinshaw off the pole tonight. It's Josh Rogers. Bridie, they look untouchable. Can anyone catch the 2 in this race?
Well, I think like we heard Madison say just before, everyone's playing the aggressive game now. They've got, like he said, Josh has everything to lose and everyone else has everything to gain. So really looking forward to this one. We're finally in the UK. This is exciting.
All right. Very overcast conditions. No rain in iRacing, but it will be a very cold track, so the first lap could be quite skatey. And we are racing race 11, the Gfinity Supercars Eseries. Can Dane Warren get that nose far enough up to the inside? Gee, Josh Rogers gives him plenty of room. They do run side by side through turn 2. First of the big braking points coming up. And it's the Mobil 1 car who swings through as Madison down moves to 3rd. Jake Burton sits 5th. It's a relatively clean start as we go into the tight and twisty section to start off lap 1 at Silverstone. Jared Filsell on the curbs trying to wrestle 3rd back away from Madison down. Go back into the pack on board with Ethan Griggle, driving for the Boost Mobile team, and he cops a shot and goes out wide, fighting with Richard Hampstead. So a little bit more going on in the spots further down the order. Madison down running the inside and getting that spot back on Jared Filsell, so a little bit going on. And now finally that race can settle down. Bit of a frantic start there, Nick, and we are off and running. Yeah, they did a good job to get through those 2, basically the hairpins on the circuit. And I thought we were going to see a bit more of a concertina, but good job by everyone. Jake's just been hung out to the right.
Well, I think Richard Hampstead then just gave him a bit of hip and shoulder.
Yeah, he's 1 out and 1 back here on the outside of Ethan Griggle. He'll lose 2 here, surely. Oh, he's done really well to get back in the front of the Fox Sports car of Brady Myers. Brady picked up one of his best qualifying performances of the season tonight. And we are off and running. It's a good evening to Jonathan following the action down there in Melbourne. It's a 7-lap race, so we should see some pretty early pit stops tonight, Jonathan.
Yeah, exactly, and the only chance right now is for the people at the back end of the order to avoid the traffic. I think this is probably the best track all season for these drivers in terms of tyre wear, so I don't think Rogers or Warren will pit, but anybody behind, look out for them diving into the lane right now.
Okay, here comes that pit entrance. Is anyone going to be brave enough to try a lap 1 pit stop? We have seen Josh Muggleton try that strategy a few times, and there he goes in the background. Those noticeable white wheels, you can't miss them. Very retro.
If I was Warren, I would have thrown it down pit lane then to actually just get clear air, because he would have been the first of the group, so he wouldn't have had any issue of coming out behind anyone. And then, you know, he could like the surprise attack once
get the undercut.
Exactly, once Josh, because he would know what lap time, everything that's going on behind him. If he suddenly disappears, he would have to hope that he does a good enough job, but
it's hard to gauge it straight away what the lap
and I think that's the thing we need to reinforce, Chad, as we say every week, is that these drivers, there's no engineers on the radio. You know, they're doing this all on their own. They have no information about who has pitted, etc. So they really are running their own race.
This is going to be a bit of a lunge down here. They've been on since turn 1.
Can't quite get it done. Takes a very shallow entry, Madison, down, going down into Brooklyn. So notice that when we were taking the onboard lap with him earlier, it looks like he's being sort of semi-defensive, but that's his natural racing line down there.
It is very easy to defend down there. Obviously, if you just stay narrow, the corner's so long, they can't do anything about it. And it's going to be interesting if Jared just fires down inside. He's losing the gap to the 2 lead cars. He'll be getting frustrated. You can see his teammate up the road winning it, but he's got some pace here. and it looks like he doesn't mind just a bit of a slide job, so I'm looking forward to it.
He would also be a candidate for a pit stop if he can't make this one stick very soon as we go running through Beckett's and Chapel Curve down onto this long hanger straight. It's tucked in nicely behind him, get a bit of that slipstream.
He should get a little bit of a toe, but also another extremely difficult corner to pass here at the end of the hanger straight, because it's not a big stop. It's a very flowy corner at the exit of it, but if he can get a good run off here, he'll have a crack into this last section of corners.
Let's see if he's pitting straight in. So the first of our lead pack comes in. It's Jared Filsell, needs to roll the dice now. Get that car stopped in time for what is a very long amount of time on the pit lane limiter. And yes, you can get pit lane penalties for speeding in pit lane. We saw that last week. Josh Rogers picked one up. The tracks.
Oh, sorry, I was just about to say, so it's about a 28-second pit stop with the transition through pit lane, stopping, going again.
The track seems really fast. I think, did they not do a 2:01.9 qualifying? And he's
well picked.
Just eased about half a second out of it in the first 2 laps. So
it does look a lot more overcast than what it was for qualifying. That could be it. The game does really respond to cloud cover, and we have, since the first round, made that change to have the dynamic conditions throughout the night. No rain, but yes, cloud cover and sunshine does make a huge amount of difference in track temperature and then speed. So you go on board with Ian Ford. Well, Jonathan, your thoughts on track temperature for this one? It looks pretty quick right now.
Yeah, and how annoying is that? Is that the weather in England, every time you go there, is so cold, and then iRacing go and simulate it for everybody. But it is some of the coldest conditions, as Nick said, I've ever seen on iRacing. And so the undercut doesn't seem to be working. I think for Josh right now, it only began in the final sector. He was the quickest in the final sector out of everybody, but the first 2 sectors he lost so much time. So I think once this race progresses, the undercut will start to work.
Okay, so that may not work then for Jared off that early pit stop. So Burton and Muggleton will have pitted.
His first sector, when they're wobbling around out of the pits, if he can be close enough, be able to put a bit of pressure on him. We saw last week, was it the first race last week? When they came out together, the battle was on.
He's not afraid to go toe-to-toe with his teammate when he can get onto his door or onto his bumper. This is a good little battle pack further back as Brady Myers comes into pit lane in the Fox Sports entry.
Brady Myers is having a good run so far. We've mentioned before how he really started off his season with some penalties and a couple of incidents, but he had a really strong run at the last round in Europe. In fact, picked up a top 5 there, so hopefully that's giving him a bit of confidence heading into the 2 last rounds of the season.
So Madison Down and the Shannon's car comes in as well. So this will give us an idea as how close he is with Jared Filsell. That was the battle for the pit stops as Filsell got the undercut today. It's about an 8-second stationary time. So we're watching out for car 22. He's just coming out of the last corner now. And this will be really close at turn 2. Watch for that Walkinshaw car to whiz by. He's got him covered. So
by fair margin, actually. Surprised.
Yeah, so that was a huge undercut then. I think that was more to do with just raw speed that he has in that car. No, he hasn't got the undercut done.
Oh, we're looking at the wrong car here.
Yeah, so Madison Down.
He's done the job.
Has managed to stove that off. So Jonathan picked that perfectly. There really is no undercut. It's bad news for Dane Warren. He needs to figure out a way past Josh Rogers.
Yeah, the lap time has dropped a little bit for Rogers, but he's still obviously the quickest on track, and yeah, there's not enough, it takes too long for the tyre to get going, exactly like Jonathan said, and then they lose that margin, so they pit early, don't get an undercut, and then have a bit of tyre deck to go with it, so it could be a long old race for a few of the guys that pitted on lap 1 or 2.
On board with Jake Burton here, obviously representing Brad Jones Racing and Dunlop Racing. One of the liveries that you've run this year, Nicholas.
Yes. Does it look familiar?
Yes.
Yep.
Do you remember where and when you had the Dunlop livery?
Yeah.
You win a prize for having a different livery for every round.
Darwin.
Well done.
Okay.
Well picked.
Hopefully this week he's got a pit entry sorted, as he's Josh. I think it's Josh just heading into the lane then.
Yep. So Josh in now, and
yes, he'll be well aware not to speed on entry or exit, as he was penalised for opening race of last round.
So Ian Ford going on. He's the only
Dane
one
Warren's
out there.
followed him in, so we've got Rogers and Warren back
I think
to
that's
back.
smart because he was about a second or so up the road or behind the lead, so he's actually been able to use him under brakes to the pit lane line. I think Shane mentioned it last week. You make a lot of time up if you're following a car at pit entry, so hopefully he's clawed back a little bit, but Josh just looks too fast at the moment.
All right, let's see what Madison Down is here. He's about to go through turn 1 as Josh exits the lane, tries to get that car back up to speed. Madison might be able to get one of them here. He's already at full speed. No, not quite close enough. And the top 3 stay as they were. Ford, Rogers, Warren, but Ford obviously yet to pit. So Rogers, Warren down the top 3. Ian Ford, he's played this strategy most nights actually. He's always the last to pit in these sprint races.
And no stranger to doing it again. He's the only one that has not pitted yet.
But he's always had pretty good lap times and good lap speed. We'll see how he goes here in comparison. I mean, he's in the 202s. The leaders are doing mid to high 201s.
Yeah, I think he'll probably pop out about 7th or 8th there. Because obviously there's been battles happening besides the 2 leaders scampering away. There's been actually a bit of a battle from probably 5th down to 8th there. So hopefully that train slowed up a bit for him and he'll come out just ahead of him. But
If you had to hazard a guess, Nick, obviously Josh has had the pace and the form for a while now, but setup-wise, what do you think he may have done here to give himself the advantage over the field? If you were having to race a supercar here at Silverstone, what would you do?
it would be a huge trade-off of front grip versus good traction off the corners. Obviously, through all this medium speed that Maggotts and Beckett's, that you need good front grip and good change of sharpness on change of direction. Got a bit of a battle brewing here.
Train starting to fall.
Yes. Josh, Jake, sorry, will have to get the elbows out, and he's being lunged. This is big.
Brady Myers from a long way back.
He's hung the outside. That's good because the next corner is actually a left-hander, so if he can hold on here.
Arrive at Vale, and he makes that spot count, but then locks the left front and loses the rear end. He just catches it, but loses 3 spots.
He actually came across the front of, I'm not sure who was battling there, but he came across the front.
That was Richard Hampstead. Yep.
I think it might have been the
Brady Myers.
Yes, Brady Myers.
So when he came across the front of him under brakes, he got a bit of a hit. So probably he should have stayed on the inside line and not tried to open up the entry there. He's kind of, he's going to hate me and his teammate effectively, but I think he's actually come across the front of him there and kind of turned himself around.
So you don't think that there's anything there that our DSO, Craig Dontas, who was obviously watching online, would have anything to review there? You think that was just probably a bit of an error of judgment by Jake?
I think he moved across on the brakes. It just caught the front bar of the car behind. So Craig, you can rest easy, mate.
That'd be a tough call to make. Typically in the first race, we've seen them offer points penalties and not time penalties, because with the next race being reverse grid, no points putting someone down the order. So we have seen some pretty...
Wouldn't that be funny though?
Yes. Get dropped rear of field, no worries. I'll take the pole for race 2 tonight. I'm board with Brenton Hobson. Brenton driving the Raw entry. Great to have the Raw on board as one of our teams, and the Logitech data as we go running through the famous Cops Bend. Lots of room on the outside. Need to be careful not to run too wide there. You'll pick up a time penalty. I think it's 1 second if you go wide there, 3 seconds if you shortcut any of these corners. Run through Maggotts, which is named after Maggotts Mall, which is a big field alongside it, bit of a local theme in that area.
Not a bad fact.
Yeah, pretty much all the corners here, including Beckett's and Chapel, are named after nearby stats and facts around the area.
That's interesting.
Like Stowe is named after the Stowe School. Hanger Straight's named after the hangars that used to be there from the old World War II days. The entire track's built on World War II runways, essentially. Most airfields, I guess you call them. Most tracks in England are. Thruxton, that's another one.
Yep.
Snetterton, I'm pretty sure that's an ex-Air Force base.
Oh, that's 2 wheels.
Wheels from Brady Myers as he gets high and dry. And that was coming out of Club. And this guy doing what he's done most of the season, building a gap, 1.3 seconds and counting at the moment. Last lap now for Josh Rogers.
The thing looks absolutely dialed. No real correction. Always positive lock. He's obviously found a pretty good base setup that he's got on top of the last few rounds, and yeah, that's where the bit of a domination started. And I imagine the two Walkinshaw drivers share a bit of setup info.
Well, sure,
there are.
Well, they that competitive.
I think there are rules built around that in the sport, so you're not at a disadvantage if you're in a single car team.
Yep.
They're definitely cleaning up in the teams championships, where you take your top driver's result from each race, goes past the old finish line. Half a lap to go through Cops for the final time.
I thought Warren was, keeping him honest there, but then I've just realised that they both just virtually done their fastest laps in the last lap, and it is that 3.5 tenth margin. So Josh has just brained them this race, and those two are the only two guys in the 201s, which is seriously fast.
Yeah, Dane did his best lap last time by, but have a look at Josh Rogers. His best at 201.45, his last at 201.47.
Yep.
So just pumping them out at the moment.
It would have been good if Warren could have stayed a little bit closer, because iRacing does actually put up a good slipstream in the cars, so he might have been able to get a bit of a tow and hang with him and slide up the inside. But obviously this car of Josh's is dialed and he's just driven away.
Hooked up, and he's going to use that to extend this championship lead. He'll pick up another race win tonight to add to his growing list. It'll be his 7th podium and his 6th race win. And Josh Rogers is putting his foot down on this championship. Man, he's good, and he's got another win, this time at Silverstone. Well done to Walkinshaw and Andretti United, winners of race 11. Did it, never say easily, but certainly comfortably.
Yeah, exactly. The key part of his race was the start, and he absolutely nailed that. Left enough room at turn 1, 2 to not get cleaned up, and then pressed on.
Well done to Josh Rogers. Jonathan, that was probably the best performance we've seen from him all season, maybe since Bathurst.
Yeah, an awesome performance, and with that result, it can confirm that he can't win the championship for this round. Not that we were thinking about it, but it was mathematically possible, but I think it's definitely going to go down to next week. But the pace these guys showed was phenomenal. 201s was, I think your average iRacer would be about 2-3 seconds off the pace of this. That's how fast these guys are.
Wow, that's it's impressive when you look at it like that. I mean, even the guys at the back, 203 is a good lap time around Silverstone, but mid 201s, no one could touch him all race long. And that's why he's got that sort of championship lead. Now a chance to celebrate.
Doesn't mind a bit of a drift, does he?
And he makes it look so easy as well.
He does. He actually needs to be in the Red Bull car, so replicate Shane on the in laps.
I think Shane was pretty impressed with some of his performances. We've even been able to request live burnout requests with him at Laguna Seca.
Yeah,
I think he's actually just spinning in the background.
It's burnouts by request now.
Oh,
you can
God.
ask him what to draw, figure eights. He's done everything.
Yeah, so
it's super talented.
Doesn't spend any time in the sim, obviously.
No, clearly not. He knows exactly what he's doing. Let's check out highlights from race 11 of the championship. A quiet one to start the night off. You never know how these are going to play out. The Nürburgring last week was completely different. It looked like the cloud cover lifted as well throughout the course of that race. So track temps would have started to rise. Just got a good start and made it stick. But the battle for third in the opening couple of laps was really quite interesting. Take it from Ethan Grigould's point of view.
They do such a good job to get him off the line. For some reason, the iRacing in any car is hard to get them moving and without much wheel spin. But these guys all make it look super easy. So well done to them.
Shannon's Insurance Commodore had a good fight, managed to hold on to third. He's picking up the podiums here. Madison Down. That was a pretty clinical drive then. So the championship gap now looking a little bit different. It's Madison's 6th podium of the year.
Solid.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive out of 11 races. So that moves him now to 2nd for most podiums behind this guy, who's clocked up his 7th of the year. So this is a good fight. Let's have another look then. Oh yeah, it was as he came back across to take the racing line. You're right, well picked. Saw something similar in Super 2 actually. With Brenton Grove and Matt Charter. It was Matt Charter who picked up the penalty on that occasion.
That was a pretty big sending, but that was obviously both guys just trying to get a bit of use of the same bit of road.
And at the end of the day, once again, it was the Walkinshaw Andretti United driver of Josh Rogers getting the job done. Bryony extending that championship lead now and looking very likely to take the trophy that we've got with us here tonight.
Yes, but don't forget the next one. It's reverse grid. So he's going to be starting off of the rear of the grid, and this is what we love. The reverse grid races this year have been super entertaining, and I'm expecting the next one to be no less different.
Yes, I believe we've got Josh right now, so we can sort of pose the good news, bad news scenario to him, if you wish. Josh, the good news is you've picked up another race win. Congratulations. The bad news is you're off the back of the grid for the next one.
Yeah, it's a bit bittersweet in that sense, isn't it? But at the end of the day, we've scored really, really good points there, and Jared finished, I think, P4, so was able to obviously extend the lead a little bit in the championship, but everything can turn around in that reverse grid race at Oulton Park, and that's going to put on a show, of course, that circuit.
We all said that Zandvoort was going to be a difficult place to pass. Are we sort of thinking Oulton Park could be the same? I mean, the Lakeside hairpin's really the only big stop.
Yeah, honestly, I would say Oulton's actually going to be a little bit tougher. You do have that hairpin, you do have the last corner as well, but at the same time, they're both corners that are really easy to defend on. So I think it's going to be more down to pit strategy and when you choose to pit, in terms of obviously trying to gain that track position and trying to pick the right time when the tyres overlap each other. So it's going to be all about that. But, at the end of the day, I think it's still going to be really close racing, bumper to bumper, and hopefully we see some good moves. All
right, best of luck, mate. We're expecting an early pit stop out of you, but willing to be proven wrong tonight. Good luck as you head into the reverse grid race. All right, we are going to turn our attention now to our Shannon's Classic moment. There was probably maybe two or three that we could have turned our attention to. So let's check out tonight's first Shannon's Classic moment. There was a little bit going on, particularly in the early stages of that race, and the fight for third, Bryony, certainly caught our eye.
Yes, it did, and we're going to have a look at that right now. And here it is, the battle between Madison Down, holding off Jared Filser, which we don't often see. Jared's usually pretty quick, but this was a fantastic battle between the two. Jared looking each way, trying to get the move done, but Madison holding him off there. Good to see Madison in a spirited battle there.
He did seriously well to defend that, and then he actually eked the gap out and got away from him. It was quite
and
impressive.
As you said at the time, that was on from lap one, pretty much turn one between those two.
Yeah, they were hard into it, and I actually thought into turn three, they nearly overshot the braking marker and got into the back of Josh and the two leaders there, but everyone got through nicely.
All right, well done. So that is tonight's first Shannon's Classic moment of the evening. Remember, you can go and vote at the end of the night once we've got all three classic moments. And it's another tale of Josh Rogers, 1.5 seconds clear of Dane Warren. Dane, again, racking up the podiums, but just can't seem to finish higher than second place. They'll be off the back of the grid. Both of them very good at driving through the field. Further down the order, anyone else caught your eye? Ian Ford. So he washed out fifth after all that. Well picked. So the long strategy worked.
Because that group was battling so hard and having Jake was having his run in there. He's popped out fifth. Well done.
Very well picked. So,
and I guess that misfortune for Jake will mean that he starts off the second row of the grid for this one. So, really good opportunity for him to possibly make up some spots.
His first win came at Watkins Glen when he started near the rear of that field as well, and managed to convert that to a pretty good result. All right, we're going to go reverse grid racing on the other side of this. Don't go anywhere. It's Gfinity Supercars Eseries. 1 down, 2 to go.
motoring enthusiast? Shannons are giving you the chance to win a trip to London and the 2020 Goodwood Revival, one of the biggest historic motorsport events in the world. Plus, tour through the English countryside in a Jaguar F-Pace for 15 days, visiting historic locations and unique motoring museums, with up to $5,000 spending money for eligible Shannons Club members. Plus, win a new Indian FTR 1200S motorcycle. To enter, get a quote on your special car, spouse's car, daily drive, your bike or home. Take out a new policy for even more chances of winning. Call Shannons on 13 46 46 or go online today.
Our friends at Shannons are giving you the chance to win a trip to London for the Goodwood Revival, a fascinating retro event set in the 40s, 50s and 60s. And there's also the chance to win this beautiful Indian FTR 1200S. To enter, just go to shannons.com.au to request a quote.
I'm not a big-headed person, so, but yeah, I've proven to the community that I am probably the best supercar driver on iRacing in the last 4 years, basically.
Have a look at the lead for Jared Filsell. He's racing and winning for Walkinshaw and United.
My strengths are probably keeping cool under pressure. I can absorb quite a lot, even if I'm getting a little bit niggled. I think being at the best, you need to be leading. You can put yourself in that mindset where you don't look in the mirror, just keep going, just really try and push yourself to open up that gap and then just try and pull away and demoralise them. One of my biggest role models is Mark Scaife, one of the greatest drivers of all time in Australian touring car history, obviously competing with the Gibson guys with the GTR and earlier V8 supercars, so I definitely think he's one to aspire to. I probably spend about 5 to 10 hours a week on the sim, so obviously I do a little bit of coaching off the side and whatnot, so that fills most of my time, and then obviously you can add on the practice for the events on top of that.
It's 1-2 for Walkinshaw and Andretti United at the Mountain.
Having Josh in my team is massive. I think we both help one another, not in terms of setup because we both like the car differently, but just setting the benchmark very, very high on one another. Definitely comfortable with being one of the favourites to win the series.
He has been very quick since arriving in this championship. He sits second in the points, and that points lead now is 84. So remember, it's 50 points for a race win at the moment, and there is a chance that he could still bring this back. But Bryony, he needs to start winning some races and winning them very soon.
Yeah, full of confidence in that piece.
Very confident young man.
I don't want to be quite humble, but I am the best racer in Australia. Good on you for having that confidence. You do. You got to back yourself.
You got to back yourself, don't you, Nick?
Thank you. Yep. He has backed himself hard there, so that was impressive. Yeah, we'll see what he's got this next one. He starts in front of Josh. So it's his time. Let's see what he's got.
Needs to finish ahead of his teammate and try and keep that championship momentum going. So from Silverstone, we now head over to Oulton Park. Silverstone was a track that you've visited. Brands Hatch is a track that you've raced at, but this one is going to be relatively new to you. It's set up near Liverpool and Manchester, up in the north. You can get there from either of those two airports. Very beautiful sort of landscape around there, rolling green hills, very old countryside. And that is how they'll line up. Reverse grid. Ethan Grigalt fell back in that race and will start last. Bryony's looking at me like she's got a fun fact.
When do you want my fun fact? And
God.
It's a wear, not an if, because I know you don't want it.
I feel like you're going to deliver it on camera since you built it up so much.
Oh, I don't need to, but
Go on.
Having a look.
Please, the stage is yours.
Okay, so
Drum roll.
there is a corner called Knickerbrook Corner,
Yes.
as you would both know, at Oulton Park.
I knew that.
I actually know this story, and I can't believe you're about to tell it on TV.
Really? Okay, well, I'll give you the PG version.
Okay.
So back in the day, they were using some dynamite to remove some tree stumps and whatever close to that corner. And after the first detonation, they actually saw a couple run off from the bushes quite hastily.
Oh,
and
was it a Tuesday?
It could have been. And then on closer inspection, they actually found a pair of ladies' underwear in the brook. So that's why it's called
Lucky guy.
Brook.
Yeah, a brook is a lake, in case anyone was wondering. It's a very English word. Hence, Knickerbrook Corner.
That's all I have.
Well
Are you
done.
Happy?
Better than last week's
Thank
one.
you.
Yeah, I will admit that was actually not too bad. So there we go. We all know a little bit more about Oulton Park. Double pointed. You can point it out to us on the track map.
Sure.
Let's go racing.
Let's go.
This is Lodge Corner, and we are off and running. No, it's not. It's Old Hall Corner, now past Avenue.
I've done a few laps on this sim, on this track, and it is pretty wild. A lot of bumps bumps, a lot of a few blind corners, and actually a really tricky circuit because it's quite narrow, so passing will be quite hard. I'm looking forward to seeing how Josh gets through. Look at how hard it is to get stopped at these hairpins. And look, we've got a bit of a hill here. We can fire over the top, bit of wheel spin, trying to get the traction down off the hairpin, and then, yeah, it gets pretty wild through this last sector, so I can't wait to see how they handle it because I'm normally in the fence.
And this is the chicane that was actually added
yes.
To reduce the speed of the cars coming into Knickerbrook.
And that's the corner there. There it is. Well done. So there are multiple layouts here, as they are for most of the English circuits. This one is the Island course, which is slightly shorter than the full Grand Prix circuit, which takes on the full loop. But that part there, this is full roller coaster.
Yeah, that's wild through there. And the curbs are very small because it's a very old school style of circuit. So I'm expecting a lot of mistakes. Even this last corner here, the road drops away quite a lot. It's off camber on the exit. Hard to get the power down. So you could even see a battle to the start-finish line to get the win. So it's going to be on here.
That pit entrance is a really fast one as well. As decides to try and tip it in, and
does that
didn't quite work out. Didn't quite work out. Pit entrance here. It's a very short pit lane, and the pit entrance will rise very quickly. So getting the thing stopped there could be quite important as well, I think. Yeah,
it'd be interesting. It could be like a big cork in the ocean. That's
cork in the ocean.
Yes.
I've just been told to say that.
All right. It's very Dennis Committee of you.
Yeah. So yeah, that pit entry will be hard. I think that we could see a bit of speeding, and you know, you could actually see a car fired like over the fence here because the wall is so close. So passing will be hard. So it's gonna be
Goodness
good.
gracious, let's hope we don't see that.
Even in iRacing, that wouldn't be that much fun.
No.
It is an old school touring car track, isn't it? And it's so cool seeing British touring cars race there through the 90s.
Yes, they were there. That was a cool era.
Yeah, got that vibe about it. Let's go racing then. Reverse grid, you never know what's going to happen here, but this is a great chance for Ethan Griggold to win his first race of the E-Series. Jake Burney will be pretty fired up in that Dunlop car. Expecting some pretty early pit stops. That flag he was getting into it as we are off and running for the second race of the night.
See how narrow it is. They can only just get 2x2, so even there you see Jake can't get through.
Emily Jones to second. Gets it covered, yes.
It's got big there.
That's nice. So through on Brenton Hobson from the Raw. Oh, and Hobson's off in a big way. And that'll be hard to get that thing stopped. Gee, that could have been bigger. Oh, and then Muggleton on two wheels through the hairpin. Someone absolutely nailed Josh Muggleton.
Exactly what I expected to happen here.
There you go.
This is a cool circuit. And where have the Walkinshaw boys got to?
Well, Josh hasn't
He's been cautious, which is smart.
Hobson barely lost any time then after being in another paddock. So that's how slow things were, but he may have some damage. I think he's lost the bonnet or at least a fender. Hillsell going slow.
What if he did a shortcut?
Yeah, I think he may have shortcut.
I was just about to say, he was the one that was holding that whole train of cars up. So unless he has an issue, I'm unsure.
Oh, it's got a sticking throttle pedal or something.
That car is wobbling around. Jonathan, frantic stuff.
Yeah, I don't know where to look, first of all. It was... I'm not sure if anyone's told Brady Myers he's just had a penalty for 5 championship points from last race, but he could be getting another one for the contact with Muggleton. And I think for Burton, when he was the one who went into the rear end of Hobson, I think he just misjudged his braking point. Remember, Jake Burton's a lot quicker than he is compared to Brenton Hobson, so the braking points could be different between the two.
Right, and we've also had some early pit stops.
Well, this is a lunge.
So this is still going on. Thank you very much, Jonathan. Early pit stops happening. Muggleton and Hobson come in. See how narrow it is. Just about 2 car lengths wide. From a long way back.
You can see he's trying to go because he's got the Walkinshaw guys all over him.
And he's going to lose out here. Jared Philsell in the box seat. Picked up 2 spots.
On the block, which was good. And he's just held on there.
He did that quite nicely as we run through the chicane. Madison down off the road. Got it wrong all by himself.
And Josh just did a bit of avoiding driving there. It was, I think Ford was firing up the inside of him, and he's had to open the wheel up and lose a bit of time, but live to fight another day.
This is cool. There's wheel drops going on everywhere. There's dirt flying, mud flicking up in the air. Madison down, under pressure. Jared Philsell has come ripping through this field. So is Josh Rogers, up to 8th, but we have had 2 cars pit early.
I was surprised that no one pitted early. Just to get out of this. They'll be holding each other up probably close to a second a lap. So it's surprising they're all pressing on.
Well, 120.5 and a 120.4 for the leaders. And further back here, Dane Warren, 121.4. So, Nick, you are absolutely on the money. They are a second off the pace in having this scrap.
This is one where maybe Josh got rattled by you saying he was going to pit early. Like, he 100% should have pitted straight away, even if there is a big tyre deg here, and just got clean air, and he drives the car well and keeps the tyre under it. Instead, he's in these big battles, and when have we ever seen him a second off the leader's pace? He's normally 4 tenths clear, so
kind of glad he did, though, because it's good to see him in a fight.
Yes. I think he's actually gone a little bit too conservative in the first few laps here. He's made up no time. Every time we saw him on camera, he was wide, trying to avoid the crashes. And when you start driving that way, you kind of tend to find the accident a bit more rather than just attacking and looking forward and getting on with it. But these two have just been on all night, haven't they?
Yeah, they're glued together tonight. Phil Selwyn down. Let's see if they can take a clean sweep of the Shannon's classic moments tonight.
This is it.
He's got him here. There's a chance. Oh, had the run.
How late did Madison just break there?
Got that thing stopped. So, candidates for pit stops here. Surely someone. It's Madison down and Josh Rogers. So, a lap 3 stop for Josh. Gets that thing stopped in the nick of time.
He has practiced that, obviously.
Yeah, that was perfect. Running wide, Jared Filsell. Dane Warren all over the back of him. These two usually have very good car speed.
So Warren probably needs to not battle him here and just let him go, like drive the car online, not defend, so they can have a few laps of clear air. They've got no one ahead of them now. So if they just not work together, but if he doesn't try and battle him too hard, they can actually make time on Josh and Madison. Because Madison looked like he was actually struggling a bit in those first few laps, and he was the person holding everyone up.
Through the chicane once again. So, at the front of the pack, Ethan Griggold. Big chance for him tonight to win his first race. Emily Jones, Jake Burton starting to put pressure on her. Those two are good friends, so that should be an entertaining fight. They were the last two standing at the end of what was a very big wrap party from round 1. Interesting. They powered straight through from here to the airport the next morning.
Yeah, right. Didn't think he
know anything about doing that sort of thing.
Yep, did not think he had it in him. There you go. So he's going to fit right in at Brad Jones Racing.
Emily's only had one top 5 finish. Emily's only had one top 5 finish so far in 11 races, so it would be great to see her grab another one today if she could.
And close as this.
Out of any track to start at the front, I know obviously she didn't quite have the car speed the last race, but this is the track, I think, of the season.
So a chance, maybe, for podium tonight. Back to this fight, Madison down. And he's got now a different Walkinshaw car for company by the looks of it.
That's a bit close.
After having Jared Filsell all over him. Gee, this would be big for Emily Jones and Jake Burton if they can hang on to this spot ahead of these two. Filsell back out and right in front of them. So Filsell actually jumping past Madison down there.
That's what I thought. Madison is actually not that fast, and he's made no time up in that phase of the race when they had clear air. So Josh is just still milling around behind him. And
it's like Dane was the big loser out of that one. I mean, he was right behind Filsell, wasn't he? And now he's come out with not only Madison, Josh, and Jared.
Yeah. In front of him. So he must have, maybe he's made a mistake in the last lap. It was a 24.4. Where others have been a little bit quicker out of the pits. So maybe he made a mistake on the cold tyre coming out the pit lane there.
All right, we've got Jonathan watching on the action down in Melbourne. Your take of the pit stop process so far?
And perfect timing now for our leader, Greg Gold. He enters the pit lane and luckily doesn't get a pit speeding penalty. He looks all good and he should be good enough to take his first win if he can keep this clean. But for Dane Warren, he was 1 second slower than all of his competitors through the pit stop, so that's why he's dropped far back down from that train. But let's see where Greg Gold feeds out.
Okay. And also the change has happened on the track with Rogers getting that move done on Madison down. That's not easy. So that's a pretty good move that's been made. The leader out of the pits. Can he hang on to the lead? Must be a nervous wait as you wait to see if anyone's going to whiz by on the underhand side, and he is good. So Bruce Mobile Racing and Gary Rogers on for their first win in the series tonight. If he can piece it together from here. We're not even halfway home yet.
Yeah, he's done a really good job. Kept it clean, not made any mistakes. And now I'm actually excited to see Jared and Josh have a big battle here, because Josh has had a little bit of clear air that last lap. Set the fast lap of the race. I think he has there.
Yep.
So we'll see how we go. But can't take anything away from the bloke leading the thing. He's done a really good job so far.
Making the most of it, driving clean, driving straight, keeping that thing moving.
It's a track where easy to make mistakes. You can hear the flaring of the wheel spin and how much the car's moving around, so they're doing a good job.
Plus Emily Jones on for a good result. Look how close this is now between the top three.
She has closed up.
Gee, so there was a little bit of an undercut there then.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is bad news for Ian Ford, who again is the last pit, but that strategy worked out for him last time. Here he is.
He's not quite far enough up the road as they crest to the last corner there.
So the field will whiz by. But where will he come out? Maybe around that Madison Down, Dane Warren battle pack. Here they are now on the front straight.
They're going too quick now, the two Walkinshaw guys.
Now he's dropped and released and away. He'll fall in somewhere around Brady Myers. Just waiting to see if that Fox Sports car comes past. Like Jonathan said, he may be attracting the attention from race control again. Jake Burton's got a quick car here. Yeah. Get around Emily.
The two fastest cars are Jake and Josh, separated by they're about a tenth apart in lap speed. Josh being slightly quicker, but Jake does have traffic or a battle on his hands, so it's on. He can sniff the win, I reckon, and he should, from his form, should be the quickest of these three, of the top three. So just needs to find his way past, and maybe he's too friendly with Emily. He's just.
Oh, what are you suggesting?
Bit of
throw the elbows out here, maybe.
Right.
Try and make this move.
It's into Tuesday.
Yeah. He's in his sim though, isn't he?
Bit busy right now. This is where we saw the spot changed earlier for Madison Down and Josh Rogers. Not much of a braking zone there to make it stick.
No. You need to get good traction somewhere and stay somewhat close enough and just edge it down the inside. But Emily's doing a very good job getting on the power, so her car's set up well to get good traction.
This is one of the strongest runs that I feel like we've seen from Emily in a while now. It's really good to see.
This will be her first podium if she can make it count. Get the feeling that Phil Sell and the rest are gaining on this pack as well. Close reverse grid races.
They're closing about that lap, half a second a lap.
Okay.
So it's not huge. She's doing a good job. A bit of a sponsor plug there for one of my personal sponsors of Timken.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Looking good on the front. Looking back.
Will we see them in Newcastle?
We may see them in Newcastle.
Okay.
Hopefully keep the doors on it this time, eh? I'm not sure what we're up to there. Kim and Brad will have something up their sleeve, no doubt.
Always watching on. Big hello to Kim and Brad Jones if you're watching tonight.
I believe Kim sits in his simulator each night and does this.
He's going to kill me now. Gee, this is a good fight for a second. Emily Jones holding her nerve, but here come the Walkinshaw cars.
Hampstead's closed the gap. He was the quickest of those first four.
Picked up back-to-back podiums at Monza and Suzuka in the opening round. Hasn't been close to the podium since a best result of 5th at the Nürburgring.
He's flying the flag for forward here, so be rude not to slide it down the inside.
Got to have a Ford out there. We heard from him earlier in the Next Level Racing entry. You can see Next Level simulators getting around Aussie sim races in this country.
It's interesting seeing the way Emily drives the car. She squares up the exit quite a lot, so she gets very good traction off and never gives the guys behind an opportunity to get past her, where Jake seems to flow a lot more speed through the middle of the corner and he loses the gap on the exit. So two different setup philosophies going there. One's flowing big mid-speed and one's getting big exits. So it's actually quite interesting to watch. But I think Hampstead's the one here to have a dip.
It's cool that iRacing can be so exact that that those styles can be so pronounced.
It is good, and it's quite easy to see on this, obviously, because they're chasing the cars quite a lot on a circuit like this. So we'll see how we go. But Emily is backing them up a little bit now. She's just done a 21-1, where Josh and Jared are doing 20.3s there. So they're actually closing into this with we've got 3 or 4 laps there to go. So if they can get there quick enough, it'd be rude if they just sat there for us. I want to see a big lunge.
This is coming. I reckon this might be the time as Hampstead gets aggressive. Burton has to go defensive for a moment. They'll fall back into line.
He's nearly right in the back of Emily in his defence.
Down at Lodge Corner. Yeah, Emily Jones ran wide through Druids and then they all went stacking on. Hampstead getting aggressive. Wants a podium. 3 to go. Great to have Nick Percat joining us on the desk tonight. Second last stop on the tour for us.
Some serious expert commentary, isn't it? I've added so much.
Part-time racer, full-time sim racer. Other way around.
Just send up the inside, mate. You got nothing to lose.
Well, Jonathan, the pressure is building here as the Walkinshaw cars have officially joined the battle.
Well, Burton's got to be careful here because, yeah, he's got a lot of drivers behind to fight with. It looks like the race 3 grid settled. It looks like Rogers and Philsell, those 2 Walkinshaw cars are going to start on the front row, but I think for Jake, unless he receives a time penalty, don't forget for that incident with the raw car of Brenton Hobson on the first lap, he should be in for a podium. So let's see what happens with the stewards. Investigate that finally.
Right, now it's Hampstead under fire from Jared Philsell, who's desperate to try and put a car between he and his teammate. Get that 84 gap down to something a little bit more reasonable for the end of the night. There we go. There's the chance at Lodge Corner. Just not quite big enough braking zone. Or Hampstead rubs the back of Burton.
Hampstead's driving in the mirror a lot. Up until that exact moment, he'd lost the gap to the... Oh, they're crashing at board straight here. Yep. He'd lost the gap to Jake and Emily, but he's lost the front quarter panel on the Falcon. He's
you watch, Rogers will get them both. There he goes. That was on. Josh Rogers falling into the perfect spot there. A bit of aggro in that between the two of them.
There was. It's funny when it's all going your way, like it is for Josh at the moment. Things are just opening up, so he'll take that and now try and get.
No.
That was probably just a bit of get out of the way, mate.
Will that be a penalty, do you think?
It looked like he probably didn't have to do that, so it's good though. Morris would have loved it. Paul Morris. Bring back the biff.
Bit of 90s biff at an old school 90s British touring car track.
Exactly.
How about that? We haven't seen much, if any, of that so far in the championship.
Jared does tend to be a bit more aggressive, and I imagine he's a bit of red mist after being driven off the road at turn 1 and gone, guess what, pal? You got backwards.
Yep, and he got quite a return serve. So that has released Rogers from last to 4th, as he does, just ticking off.
He's actually not passed a single car.
Yes. They've all just
passed him in the
road
pits,
pitted.
and then, yeah, exactly.
How good.
Got to give credit though to Ethan Green-Gould. He stayed solid out the front, has not made any mistakes, and when you look at the gap between first and second, he's just been smooth, consistent, and let the others behind him battle it out.
Jake must be frustrated. He keeps dropping back and then setting his fastest lap of the race while he catches back up to Emily, but he just can't do anything about her. She's positioning the car well. She's driving it very well, not making any mistakes. She's on the defence now in the last lap.
Which she's more than entitled to.
She is. She's done well.
Slowing it down mid-corner. Gee, Rogers couldn't surely get a podium from the back, could he? The way this is shaping up, there's half a chance as the aggro level is building.
Oh, she's just locked the front there. It's like an over and... Oh, he's
oh, no! Now he sent Emily Jones around. She catches it. Rogers might get them too.
I would be careful here if I was Rogers.
He's going to buy into this argument. There's a tap.
He's off.
He's off the road. He has to pull out of that move, and now Philsell will put him under pressure.
He's a wizard of a sim. How does he not? I would have been over the fence in the simulator,
That was awesome. It all came to blow on the last lap. And Ethan Green-Gould, who's had the boring race out the front, is doing a great job. Here he comes. The 24-year-old from Newcastle. He now lives down near the Yarra Valley. Picks up his first win, his 3rd podium, and that is the first win for Gary Rogers in the E-Series. And how about that for a drive from Emily Jones? Elbows out stuff. Burton gets home for 2nd. Jones gets her first podium. How cool is that? So first female on the podium in the E-Series. And Josh Rogers, out of nowhere, 12th to 4th. We also had
he's done it
plenty going on in the background.
Do you reckon Emily's going to give Jake a phone call?
Unhappy about that?
Yeah.
The treatment? He upped the ante on the last lap. He left it for the last lap. How about Richard Hampstead? Served. And he is 9th off the back of what was a very difficult race for him. He doesn't look like he's slowing down too much here either.
Oh, a few tempers flaring in that race. Isn't it great to see?
Stick with this for a sec. I reckon he might be after a car with a couple
Please take the
twos on
shortcut
it.
here. Take the shortcut.
Don't know if he gets slowed out
he's
on the last lap.
crashing on there.
He's on a he's setting purple sectors on the in lap. but I'm not sure he's going to find that 22.
I wish we had cameras pointing at them as they sit at home.
Yes, because the aggression and steam then from Richard Hampstead would have been big. Jonathan, it's all happening in race 12, and I feel like a bit of aggression starting to come through.
Can we already vote for that final lap as the Shannon's classic moment? It was thrilling, you know, and iRacing does offer a rallycross, but I wasn't expecting it today.
I also like the big moment, well, I'm not sure if I like it or loathe it, but Jared versus Hampstead down at the hairpin. What was your thoughts on that one?
I mean, to be honest with you, as much as, I don't want to say anything bad about Jared, I think he was just trying to poke his nose up the inside, and Richard wasn't having any of it, so... I mean, the stewards got their hands full, let me tell you that much, behind the scenes. I've been chatting to them, and they're almost falling behind investigating incidents. Remember, round 1, there was only 1 to investigate.
Yep. Yeah.
Today, they just lost track of everything. So it's going to be a while till we see a result on that.
Yeah, that's a good point, because there might be a little bit to play out. I've been following along on the Facebook comments, and everyone seemed to enjoy that one. Someone said, Sean says, "Oh, Jared, there's just no need for that." So,
bit of a swipe on the way through.
Yeah, if Sean's our DSA tonight, then he's certainly made up his mind. Where do we start with the highlights on that one? That was frantic stuff. A good race, the reverse grid race. Let's relive it. Ethan Gould pretty much had that one under control. He actually led every lap of the race. Apart from when Ian Ford went through his teammate and led a lap under the pit stop scenario. It was all pretty clean through here, but when they got to the hairpin, it all sort of unraveled. Here we go.
It's very similar to the Oulton and Wood.
That's
just awkward.
Day.
Well, I don't know. It's hard to tell.
From that point of view, what do you reckon?
I kind of missed the first part of it, but just very awkward. Narrow track.
Lap 1.
Lap 1.
Racing incident, maybe. Jake could be hoping it is.
He will be, because that could be the difference between a podium. And there was a bit more going on at the hairpin. That was a nice move from Dane Warren, getting it done on Brady Myers. Myers had a tough run in that one, went down to the back of the pack after the pit stop process. There was quite a big gap between everyone, and it looked like, okay, well, that's how they're going to finish, but it did not wind up like that. Ethan Gould, he had a pretty lonely race out in the front. That's pretty much what he looked at. Beautiful English countryside for 20-odd minutes, while behind him, it all broke out. So what happened here? This was Hampstead. He ran him out of road, and then Rogers picked them both up.
He did a good job there. He kind of waited, made sure he saw the gap, and just drove past and tried to get out of there pretty quickly, I'd imagine, because he's in the same colour car as his teammate there, who's just had a bit of biff, so you don't want to get confusion.
Here comes the payback.
Yeah, definitely payback.
Jonathan was nice enough to say he was just sticking his nose in and misjudged it. Your thought on that one?
That feels like when I kind of rubbed up Paul Morris, and then he literally just did that to me.
That's not even close to the B pillar. That's the E pillar.
Yeah, that's what Paul did to me.
Yeah.
Was that's Bargello?
Yeah. He taught me a lesson. It was good. We laugh about it now, but that was literally just like, thanks for coming, champ.
Nice. You even got to meet some celebrities that day in Perth, which is good.
All Paul's mates.
It was an exciting day at Bargello. But that's part of racing, and now part of Supercars folklore, and I think that's going to be part of Supercars E-folklore tonight. Well, it was our first payback, I think.
Yeah.
Haven't had any payback yet.
Once again, these reverse grid races deliver, don't they, in spades. Great to see.
I've been floating it for a while. I know that your boss, Brad, probably disagrees, as does most people. The reverse grid races, the fans, I'd love to see them back in Supercars.
That would be huge.
Yeah.
We kind of had one at the Sandown 500.
Yeah, true.
Didn't we?
We had Scotty,
McLaughlin
SVG,
and
Pye.
Gisbergen and Pye.
Yep, all at the back. How do you reckon they would go in Supercars for real now?
I think it would be fairly on. I just think back to when, I think it was Winton with myself and JC, when I was battling a bit, and I just had like the trolley train behind me, like Jarno at Monaco all those years ago, and I just defended like hell. And then when he kind of got next to me, he just kind of moved the car around, and he ends up in the gravel, and I continue on. Like you'd see a lot of that.
Yeah, that was for 10th at the time.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't even for the win.
I remember that being one of the most all-time great Saturday battles. It was mega, that one. And maybe we'd see more of that. I don't know.
I reckon you would.
All right, let's check out what is our Shannon's classic moment from race 12. Now, I'm genuinely curious to see what this is going to be right now, because there's probably 2 or 3 that we could pick from. So let's just roll straight into it and have a look. And yes, it had to be the payback. That's good, surely. Kissed by Jared Filsell. That's certainly a word for it. I like it. They made that look quite romantic.
Yeah, it's very romantic as he just brushed into the rear bar there.
Lucky not to take his teammate with him up the road as well, because he got a bit of a shot. That all started at turn 1, and if that is your classic moment of the night, if you like the biff, then head on to the E-Series website at the end of the night. Cast your vote. I'm not sure who gets the money out of that one, if they split it 250 or maybe
It's true.
Maybe Hamster will have to take it for being a little bit unlucky in that one. We'll give it to the guy who got turned around. But that is our next Shannon's classic moment. Well, very happy to say that we've got Ethan Grigg-Gould lined up and ready to chat. Mate, congratulations. You are a race winner in the Gfinity Supercars E-Series. You have no idea what happened behind you, I bet.
Yeah, no, I've got absolutely no idea at all. Not really the way I wanted to get my first win, starting on pole in a reverse grid race, but in this series, when you met with the sort of drivers in it, I'll take anything, really.
Absolutely. What happened to you at Silverstone? We sort of missed out there.
Look, I was probably a little bit deep into the third last corner, locked the rears a little, and one of the other drivers tagged me a bit and spun me around. So I'll take the blame for that one, but in the end, it did set us up for a good race too.
You've been able to pick up a few podiums now. Bathurst was your last one, so good to get back onto the steps.
Yeah, look, I'm finding the format at the moment difficult to comprehend for myself. The short races don't really suit me. My qualifying's not the best. I find I do the best in the races. So Bathurst being a traditional 250k, I felt like I maximised there, but I'm just trying to get my head around it.
What's the usual length that you guys would race at any given night on iRacing?
Look, pretty much anywhere from 100k to 250k is usually the normal, and then of course we've got the enduros with the 500k and then the full Bathurst 1000 that we do, so we certainly get a lot of driving.
Yeah, right. So 20-minute race is much, much shorter. Mate, well done tonight. Congratulations, you're a winner. Hopefully that gives you a good starting grid for the last race tonight.
Thank you very much.
All right, so it's taken us a while. We've gone through. We've had the stewards hearing very quickly, but this is going to be very provisional, I get the feeling. Let's have a look at what the results are from a very hectic race 12. We know the guy on top. Everything else is a bit of a question mark at the moment, but we'll start with Jake Burton, who's managed to finish second on this one. You're going to put the case in for him to stay there, or do you reckon he'll keep that one?
I reckon we'll just leave him there.
I reckon you'll get away with that one. That's
you reckon?
Yeah, that's
Craig's going to let him off?
I think so. Emily Jones, as we mentioned, her best results so far this season.
She did a very
her first
good job.
podium, position 3. I mean, she stayed out of trouble, so she should definitely keep her spot, if not go up one.
The only thing that we're hearing at the moment is Brady Myers down in 11th is going to pick up a 10-second penalty.
Again.
What's he done?
I think that's for something that happened on the first lap, first corner maybe. But the good news is, drops him nowhere, because 27 plus 10 is 37.
Nowhere.
So he's still okay. So that's all right. That's good news. He picked up 5 seconds earlier in race 1. So he's having a bit of a rough run so far. So hopefully he can get a bit more momentum. He's the #1 draft pick and has just... Qualifying's been a bit of an issue for him. He's very aggressive.
Yeah, and just sort of found himself in the wrong spot at the wrong time. A little bit of trouble, made some errors. Yeah, penalties have really cost him, I think.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully the last race of the night he can scrounge a result from near the back. All right, we are going to go to another break. The final race still to come. We're going to be talking Supercars. Nick Percat, maybe fire some Facebook questions at him. Stick around. It's the Gfinity Supercars E-Series. Brands Hatch up next.
you a motoring enthusiast? Shannons are giving you the chance to win a trip to London and the 2020 Goodwood Revival, one of the biggest historic motorsport events in the world. Plus, tour through the English countryside in a Jaguar F-Pace for 15 days, visiting historic locations and unique motoring museums, with up to $5,000 spending money for eligible Shannons Club members. Plus, win a new Indian FTR 1200S motorcycle. To enter, get a quote on your special car, spouse's car, daily drive, your bike or home. Take out a new policy for even more chances of winning. Call Shannons on 13 46 46 or go online today.
Very cool. The retro round action from the Penrite Oil Sandown 500. That was all the off-track colour, but the on-track stuff was pretty good as well. And that was a huge, huge weekend. Everyone enjoys retro rounds, some more than others. We had some pretty cool retro themes going on at Brad Jones Racing.
We did.
All three of your cars looked pretty cool.
I'm going to be honest, mate. I don't think mine was retro. I can't be kicking it back to Scotty Mac or something. I think that's just what Fujitsu wanted. That's what they how they run. But yeah, the two Aussie Mail cars was really cool. I enjoyed the white one. I think it really fit the ZB quite well. The black looked good too, but I enjoyed the white.
I agree.
I think the Cool Drive logo fitted really well in with the original Aussie Mail livery from 2000. It looked really cool. That's so many teams did awesome jobs with their retro liveries. Really impressed.
What was your favourite?
It had to be the Penrite cars. I'm not saying that because they were the naming rights sponsor for the weekend, but the two Erebus cars looked absolutely
special.
Mint. They did such a good job. So did Techno. Techno did a really good job bringing up the 1979 Bob Morris special. So if you missed the action, here's how it went down. Race 30 of the championship, also known as the Sandown 500. Nothing retro on that front row and a bad start for Alex Davison. So lucky that he was missed by his teammate right there. That was a good bit of heads-up driving from Moff. It was a steady performance from Garth Tander, who started at the back of the field and picked off so many spots early, but there was this little bit of drama. Nick, what happened here?
Yeah, it just looked a bit awkward. Obviously, Dale had a good run onto the back straight, and Luke had an even better run. It's hard to comment really on what could have or should have, but I guess if you're a co-driver, you just roll a little bit off the throttle to try and protect the race for the main guy.
I think that Luke said, didn't he, that he didn't realise that Dale was going left so much to avoid the car in front. Anyway, here we are on screen. This is Garth Tander, who just did such a fantastic job in the co-driver. Started from last place on the grid, essentially.
24th, yeah.
And handed the car back in what was effectively second place.
Pretty good stint.
You look at the
and how clean were they as well?
You look at the guy who started alongside him in Premat, and I think he was still down in like the high teens. It's basically leading the race.
They did get a 15-second penalty, I think, as well.
Yes.
So that didn't help. But the point being, Garth's drive was just masterful. So good. And then they were on for the race win. It was a heartbreaker. Watch this. Shane Van Gisbergen onto the front straight. Right rear suspension failure. Is that just from hitting the curbs for 3 hours? What causes that?
I think it's honestly a bit of just unlucky. Obviously, everything's lifed and new, and especially Triple 8 wouldn't have anything old in the cars. So I think it's just he might have caught a curb on the wrong angle, taken too much, and it's disappointing. They were so fast, and I enjoy seeing that because I'm pretty sure he's on his way to try and lap Scotty Mac there, and that was a bit of determination because he didn't need to drive it that hard. So it was good. But got on to Jamie and Craig.
Those two again. That was their first win together at Sandown. Since 2007, that one.
Really?
That's right.
First 500 win together.
Wow.
12 years.
Fantastic.
And winning the Pertec Enduro Cup as well in the process. The evergreen Craig Lowndes. What is it with that guy? He just seems to always be able to roll out and drive, turning back the clock. He did it at the Gold Coast. His Bathurst stints were quick, and then at Sandown, fast as ever.
Yeah, and I think the one thing he might have had a small weakness in the main game was his start. So now he's like getting some
Yeah.
Huge
Where did that come from?
starts.
Yeah.
And, like, Garth is known for his starts, and they come off the front row, and Craig just leaves it to death. So he's driving seriously well. And it looks like he's really enjoying it. Obviously, he's got his TV side, co-driver role with Jamie. He's just living his best life, isn't he?
Wherever you're watching right now, whether it be Twitch or YouTube or Facebook or on Fox Sports 506, get onto the Facebook feed as well, because we're going to throw some questions over at Nick very, very shortly. Shane did a pretty good job with this last week.
Yeah. I'm staying out of it this
No pressure.
time.
No, Bryony's been permanently banned from asking.
Were you sending him messages from over there?
No. I've just
Ask him this. Ask him yourself. You're sitting right there.
Not that high tech.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know how to do that.
But before we get into that, I just want to talk about your season so far. Multiple liveries has been one thing, but also some pretty good race results. Adelaide, your home race, and a race that you've won before. We kicked things off pretty well there.
Yeah, we finished as a team 4th and 5th, which is really cool. Obviously, Slade is also South Australian, and then I had a really good mid-season and had a pretty cool battle here with Rick. Just
run him out of it. That's the Dunlop car and the Jake Burton special.
Exactly. I had a really good. That was because at Phillip Island I got stuck behind him, and then I got stuck behind him on the freeway on the way home.
Oh.
And I actually we rang each other. I'm like, mate, get out of my way. You've been in front of me for an hour and a half.
Following you all weekend.
Yep. I'm like, I'm going to lunge you next time, and that was Darwin. So that was the footage we got. But
sick.
I'm really happy with the way the whole team's going. And
I think you're still sitting about 8th in the drivers'
I've dropped to 10th, but there's only like 80 points between myself and Waters, who's 7th. And myself and Cam have been in a bit of a battle all year, which is quite cool. And the Enduro Cup, Cam had a shocker.
Yeah.
We had a shocker. And then that meant Will and Lee have got amongst that. So it'll be on. 7th to 10th is the place to really see what's going on.
There's still plenty to fight for at the Newcastle 500.
I can't wait.
Obviously
I've got
Scotty's
big.
cleaned up the championship, a champion-elect, I should say,
Yes.
that he is. But yeah, there is a whole lot of battles and I want to say retribution is not the word, but paybacks maybe. It's the last round.
Jared Phil style. It's been the theme for that.
Is anyone on the way out of the main game? Do they need revenge?
Well, there's a few on the way out, but I don't know if they want to get revenge.
I remember
they want to put their best foot forward.
Andre Heimgartner said he owed the 22-1 from the Gold Coast at the Gold Coast. We haven't seen that yet. So.
Actually, he I think he owes him a couple by the sounds, but JC, he could be up and about, and it's interesting because if you end up in a battle with the team that you're going to, so Scott Pye going to Team 18, is he going to battle his next car to the death? And
future politics there.
Exactly.
I see what you're saying. Your season has been one of ups and downs. Not hard to pick what the down was. Townsville was a fiery moment for Nick Perkett. Had to roll this out tonight, I'm sorry.
Wasn't that hot though?
Yes. On the only day that it rained in Townsville, you managed to start a fire.
Yeah, well, look, I did a good job of that. No, that was crazy. So lucky no one was hurt or burnt or anything like that, because all those flames went into the garage straight into where all the engineers were standing, and they're not in the fireproof race suits and stuff like that. So, just wheeling it backwards there. Then
it's good to see reaction from the other teams, especially
Dutto was straight there, and all those guys was really good. And down the other end, Walkinshaw guys were helping out. So my season, I'm happy with it. The Pertac Cup was a letdown, but other than that, a few fourths on the lead-in, some good battles, and it's my most consistent year, so pretty happy.
All right. Are you ready for some questions from the fans?
Oh, this will be good. This could be anything for me.
Let's see. I'll start with an easy one. Ollie wants to know, what is your next livery?
My next livery?
So Newcastle. How many have you had this year now?
It's every round.
Every round. So we've had, 14 different race cars?
I think maybe Dunlop stayed on twice.
Okay. The Jake Burton car?
Yep. I can't actually tell you yet.
Ooh.
Do you know?
I know everything.
I also know, but I can't say either.
Yes,
but it's going to be pretty
involved.
cool.
Yes, and it looks really good, so I'm looking forward to that one. Sorry,
I don't know if that helps. I'm sitting here completely clueless as to what the
we don't
car's
tell you
look
anything.
like. All right, so Ollie, unfortunately, no info yet on that one. Cody, when are we going to see you next on the top step? Tough one from Cody. Newcastle's the answer.
That's pretty big considering it took a bit of rain and a fuel drop to get the Adelaide 500 win. So, no, we're working hard at BJR. Obviously, the Penske guys and Triple Eight guys are seriously fast, and I feel like Erebus, Tickford or ourselves have had little glimpses of hope. But, we've got some new gear coming next year, and hopefully the controlled damper helps us a little bit. But, last year we were very fast at Newcastle, but to win there in the current way the cars are at the moment, as in just the field spread, it'll be difficult. But I'll be eyeing a pretty strong start next year.
Alrighty. It was about time someone threw some shade at Nick. Yes. Timmy says...
Is this
Nick
Timmy Blanchard?
It's a different Timmy, actually.
Timmy Slade.
Different Tim again. They're just following you around. This guy says, Nick is so bad at iRacing. I loved fencing Nick in iRacing.
Honestly, we've probably crashed together. I don't know. It's,
on the subject of Nick.
It's because I get on so late.
Right, and
busy.
You're tired by that stage.
No, I just don't practice.
Driver excuse book for iRacing is even bigger
than
than the real one.
And then I get the shits of it and then just drive it straight ahead into the fence.
How about this one then, from Troy, speaking of Tim's. Will Tim Slade be your co-driver next year?
Co-driver?
Sorry, will he be your teammate next year? No, actually, there he goes. Will Tim Slade be your co-driver next year? He's gone one step bigger.
Oh, that's big. Unless he knows something I don't.
Okay.
I'm not sure what's going on there. I assume Slade is a fair way down the road with Brad and figuring out what they're doing. I don't know. He's out of contract, but it's...
There was a bit of chat around at Bathurst about that.
They've had some... I know they had discussions since Bathurst and it was all looking all right, so I'm not sure.
All right. Someone's asked if you get involved on the Just Send It series.
Yes, I do.
Gets a bit of a shout-out in this world.
And then the guys who run it, Trent Harrison and Glenwood, they get annoyed with me because it's Tinder Tuesday on Tuesdays for Just Send It, and I might do qualifying and then disappear, so...
Got a match. Get a match and you're on.
Qualified.
See ya.
Hurry this up. Josh wants to know, will you be at BJR or an Oulton team in 2020?
That's next year, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, I've got another year to go on my contract. So I'm very happy with Brad's. And to be honest, I'll probably end up there for another stint. So we'll see how we go.
All right, another stint again. It seemed like it's been a happy home. It was a good fit for you, I feel like. You had so much success with Walkinshaw. I mean, you won Bathurst with them. You knocked on the door of getting that factory drive with HRT for a while. And then BJR just seemed to be like a good environment for you. And it seemed to have... maybe I'm putting the words in your mouth, you tell me, but it's been a happy home?
Yeah, it has been. And obviously people have watched me go and seen me make silly comments out in the media sometimes. And Brad... You know, he saw that I could drive the car fast. It was quite rough around the edges, and we've worked really hard over the last 3 years, and everything from inside the car to what I'm doing around the team, in the media, all that side of stuff. It's getting better. I'm still a bit of a bandit if I need to be.
Nice.
But yeah, I enjoy working with Brad and the engineering group at BJR with Andrew Edwards as my engineer. We click really well.
Straight away, that was a change for you, wasn't it, earlier this year?
Yeah, like Paul Scalzo was my original engineer, and I get on great with him, but we're both fiery, so it didn't really work. And now we actually work really well together because he's overseeing a bit more things, so he'll help me out with some data and stuff like that. And then AE's on the car, and he knows how to get the best out of me, be it on the radio, car setup, or just anything.
All right, last one.
Oh, I can see one there from Anonymous Albury. Who's your favourite, Brad or Kim?
That's actually Brad's Facebook, isn't it?
I actually made that up. But who is your favourite, Brad or Kim? Considering they're probably both watching right now.
Sophie's choice, isn't it, that one?
They're so different. Kim said I couldn't have a company car the other day, so he's off the Christmas car list. So Brad, you're my man.
Brad's your favourite. Finally, to wrap it up, Casey wants to know, what are you most looking forward to? What are you most excited about Newcastle?
I love the circuit. It is, as Scapey would say, it's wild. It literally is wild. The car's off the ground, 2 wheels, all that kind of thing. Gonna have a couple of friends there that haven't been there before, so that'll be pretty cool. And, you know, it's a very good atmosphere there. And I guess, even though Scotty's wrapped up the championship, the racing will be hard. And, yeah, it's a fun circuit to drive. And then there's massive crowds, generally good weather, nice location. And then it's, you know, end of school for us, so we get to have a little bit of a break.
The party's always good.
Yeah, speaking of parties, you're going to the Supercars Gala. Who's your date?
Be there.
One of your male friends, I understand.
Josh
Do
is
the two
coming.
of you need some help? I know it's Tinder Tuesday, but maybe we need a Tinder Wednesday, Thursday,
No,
Friday,
I told Brad
Saturday.
to leave a few seats free, and I'm just going to invite some special guests.
Facebook Live, if you're interested.
There you go,
come
send
in.
your request in.
Josh actually told me to throw a shout out and just be like, invite some girls to the gala for us.
What better way to meet them online?
Hit him up on-
Facebook Live.
Hit Nick up on Twitter if you'd like to come to the gala this year.
But yes, I'm taking Josh, and Brad's already given me a little bit of a, can you just keep it to a dull roar? Because he's heard how it happens at the few after parties if a few of my mates are there. So it'll be fun, but it's cool.
Definitely not be covering that on Facebook.
No,
Live.
one thing...
I'll find you. Don't worry.
Good, I'm glad. One thing that's definitely going to be happening now that we officially know at Sandown is we're going to be crowning Scott McLaughlin as the champion. Once again, we did so last year, and that's going to be happening again this year. It's been a massive year for him. He picked up that win at Bathurst as well. It's been a dominant performance through most of the season. the Red Bull cars over the last few weeks have caught up. Definitely Red Bull specific circuits, being Sandown on the Gold Coast, but Scotty's a man in form. Doesn't matter which way you look at it.
Yeah, exactly. I, for one, have been pretty critical of what their team's been up to lately, but you cannot take anything away from the way he's driven this year. Obviously, Fabian is a classy driver, and he's a long way up the road. So credit to him. Known him for a long time now, and he's done a mega job. So well done to him on his second chip.
Yeah, second chip indeed. That is how it now officially looks. Scott McLaughlin, 550 points clear. And the fight for second in the team's championship, Bryony, as well, still alive.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Shell V-Power have the advantage by about 115, 116 points. It was literally fluctuating between the two teams across the Sandown 500 race. At one point, Red Bull were up by 59, then it was Shell by 75. So it's super close, and I think it's going to come down to the wire. And it means so much to both of those teams. So that's going to be one to watch, absolutely, at Newcastle.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for your questions online. We're going to push straight ahead now to Brands Hatch. And this is a track where Nick has been racing before. What a cool joint this is, Nick. Take us around.
This circuit is absolutely wild. Turn 1 is blind, right-hander, and downhill. And then we come up into, I think it's Paddock Bend there, from memory.
I can get a track map where we can follow along.
And it's actually, again, another circuit, very old school, narrow. And it's actually quite undulating. So they get to race on the long circuit. I race on the Indy circuit at the Formula Ford Festival, which would have went right there.
It's a very short lap on that one.
50 seconds.
Yep.
But yeah, then they head out. Literally, this is out into a forest. iRacing's done a good job of it, but it is seriously beautiful out there. And I did the track walk for the long circuit, but didn't get to drive this part. But it looks mega. High speed, blind corners, no runoff. Oh, there is runoff, but you find the fence pretty easily. So all through these sequence of right-handers, look how downhill that is. It's doesn't do it justice watching it on here.
Yeah, the whole lap is just up and down. It's an amazing ride, Brands Hatch. A cool circuit, 3.9 kilometres. I think what I love about this is when you go back and you look at all the old Grand Prix circuits and you see their original shapes, and then you see what they are today, they're so different. Not Brands Hatch. They had the first Indy circuit, then they added the Grand Prix circuit, and apart from maybe one chicane that got added and then taken away, it's not changed ever.
Yeah, exactly. I think even the garages are still the original ones, so it's very cool.
Super cool track. It hosted Grand Prix racing for about 20 years from the 60s through to the 80s. Tonight it's going to host the E-Series for Supercars. A great touring car track. What are we going to find out what this is like tonight?
Is Jared down in 7th due to points or a penalty or anything, or was that just his points, do you reckon?
Well, he may have picked up some more penalties then, so that's an interesting one. I would have had him like his higher than that. That's a good point. So Rogers and Jake Warren off the front row, Madison down, Ethan Gould, that makes sense. Emily Jones off 5th, that's pretty good. But yeah, Jared and Jake in particular, a little bit further down.
Yeah, you think that maybe they have received a penalty there because Jake was 3rd in that second race.
True. He was second last in the first one as well. He was a bit further back. Oh, he was not quite second last, but he was on the second row for the reverse grid race. So
either way, it's going to be a cracker.
It is. I heard that he got given a 5-second penalty for that one, but that looks particularly bad. So, unfortunately...
Can't wait to watch what Jared does.
Yeah, he's going to be pretty fiery. Yeah. At least there's been about 20 minutes for him to try and cool down. What do you do in that scenario, Nick? You get in, you're hot, you're a bit fired up.
Well, we know what you do. You just fire off at everyone.
No, I've stopped
and then
that.
you calmed. Have you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm all over it now. Don't worry. No, you have to settle it down. I remember when we did the 2 short races and we'd have that little break between. If you had to settle it down a bit, but hopefully he's walked to the fridge, grabbed himself a drink.
Yep.
Calmed down, walked the house a little bit,
Splash the face with some water.
Sit back down, and
then wiped his glasses so he can actually see.
Yes. Oh, good point. Yep.
You know him well. Obviously.
One guy who might be able to shed some light on what's going on, because it seems like there's been a bit of a debrief, Jonathan, from the back of race 12. What's the latest, mate?
So a lot of penalties, as you all spotted. One for Jared Filsell, as you said, kissing on Tinder Tuesday, the inside of Richard Hampstead there at the Island Hairpin. But the other was, of course, for Jake Burton. So the one for Jake Burton was not for what happened on the first lap. I think that's still under investigation. It was for what happened with his bump and run on Emily Jones. So that cost Jake Burton his 4th podium of the season.
Okay, so
Brad will be furious.
Wow, so that actually put Josh onto the podium then? Would that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. So Josh onto the podium in a reverse grid race around one of the hardest tracks to overtake at.
Wow, so what was an 84-point lead, I imagine, is probably a bit bigger right now then.
Yeah, and I'm not too fast to calculate that because this race is about to begin.
All right, let's do this. Thank you very much to Jonathan. Let's go racing at Brands Hatch, and this
Should be a fiery affair. We're on the grid and we are set. Hope you're enjoying the action. Final race of the night. It's a Walkinshaw and Red Bull front row. Madison Down sitting inside row 2. Ethan Griggle off the back of a race win, starting 4th. Long hold and we're off. Who's got the start? Pretty good start once again from Warren, but it's Dane Warren who leads us to the first corner.
That's what we want to see.
That's it. Is this the moment for him to win his first race? Everyone going on the right-hand side of the road. Oh, there goes Emily Jones.
That's a crash.
And that was surely going to... Oh, Josh Muggleton. Again.
Can't take it back, can he?
The guy has been taken out in the second and third race almost every...
Oh, really? Okay.
Every night. He just cannot cut a break.
That's disappointing for Emily too, but she's gone to second last now, and that was really not her fault.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Muggleton too. Wow, not having any luck in this championship. Josh Muggleton. Maybe the white wheels are cursed. He needs to roll out with red wheels next week. That's the challenge. We want some red wheels on that car. Maybe that'll change their luck around. As we got past the Grand Prix start and the Grand Prix area, a big long loop through Derrickminster Straight and Westfield. My favourite corner, Dingledale.
You're a Dingledale.
It's a chicane, a very fast blind chicane, which they have since changed. And a couple of interesting guys who have washed out of all this. Look who it is once again. The rivals, the 22 of Jared Filsell, tucked in behind the Ford of Richard Hampstead.
Do you think Richard might be in danger of getting a penalty though for that incident with Emily? I would say yes.
He may also have a bit of damage as well, so...
But how hard will he fight against the
guy who sent him last race?
Need to be on the block here straight away.
There we go, Warren. Can he hang on to the lead? Yes, for now. Josh Rogers is so good. He's in a mood tonight.
Formula Ford Festival, you'd come off turn 1 and just drive straight down the right-hand side, down the white line. Right. It was horrifically slow, but you can't pass if you do that.
There is a couple of famous moments that have happened under this bridge when you go right across the top.
Yes.
And then plunge down the hill through Pilgrim's Drop.
How fast is Josh again? He's just... Every circuit.
He's just tuned in every night. The only night where he was slightly off was round 1 here in the studio using unfamiliar equipment. And he was also fresh off the plane as Hampstead. Oh no, they'll go at it.
He's hit him again.
That was a bit of a rub then. And
Jake's going to get involved in this.
Watch out, Jake Burton, because
he's going to have him off here. This is good.
What's going to happen? Hampstead on the outside. Oh, he just got himself caught off the line and Burton's picked his pocket. Hampstead will be getting angrier and angrier in that car.
I'm not sure I want to be on the outside of him right now.
No. Burton's the man. And whoa. Wow, that's one way to get out of the battle. Dive in the pits. Oh, now the fight for the lead is on. Guess who? Josh Rogers.
Over and under, maybe? No.
Got it done. There's no stopping him. There is no stopping him. And he is on for 3 podiums in a night. No one has achieved that yet in the E-Series.
Yeah, he's just seriously fast.
Someone asked us last week, would he be able to translate that speed into a real supercar? I know they're poles apart. He's done a bit of karting. Have you seen him on your karting days? Because you obviously frequent the karting tracks in the country quite a bit.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen him at a go-kart track. Be hard. The supercar, especially in iRacing, is very different to drive than the real thing. If he was fast in like the GT car and stuff on iRacing, it might translate, but yeah, it's hard to say, isn't it? Once it's real life, and it might be actually a little bit scary.
Maybe. But his speed in iRacing this year,
seriously fast.
He's unbelievable. I'll just rattle off here what he's been able to achieve, and that is this season when he's gone on this incredible streak of wins. He is the World VRS GT iRacing champion. That's essentially the World GT Championship.
Yep.
So he won that. He's also picked up the win at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, 24 Hours of Nürburgring, 24 Hours of Daytona, and he recently won the Porsche Super Cup Championship as well, which paid 30 grand to win.
How does he have time to do all this?
He's the man. He's also a virtual racing school coach. That's his job. So he lives.
Oh, so he doesn't actually. That's his job.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
This is is what he does, and this is why he's the best.
Yeah, it makes complete sense, doesn't it? Even the way he drives the track, his lines are quite a lot different to the 2 cars following him. So
what can you see that's different?
He turns in from a wider angle, so he turns in later to get a big exit at a few of the spots around the circuit. And he finishes narrow on exit as well. So when you saw him following Warren, that's why you always saw him looking, showing the nose on the exit. Yeah, so it's impressive.
What a start it has been to the final race of the night. Josh Rogers.
Ethan's doing a good job hanging in there.
He's got good speed. Let's turn our attention to the lap times this time by and see exactly what that speed's like. Dane Warren not letting Josh Rogers get away here. So it's a good sign as we tip up to the end of lap number 4.
They're in
early pit stops.
Why did he follow him in? Should have done something different.
We're going to pass him behind him in the pits. That was a chance there to try and lay one good lap in.
Yeah, exactly. He's not going to pass him because he's going to follow him again.
Sometimes you just got to do what's different. And Madison Down will now be your race leader.
Jake pits as well.
Yep, so Phil Sell, Muggleton, Brady, Hampstead, Hobson have all pitted.
Oh yeah, we'll see where Hampstead comes out in relation to Jake.
Oh, this is tight. Is he close enough to maybe get a surprise move down the bottom of the hill? Oh, had a massive push mid-corner. Cold tyres.
And he's gone.
And that'll be as close as he can get. So what about Madison Down then? He was 3rd before the pit stops. That last lap of 124.8.
Yeah, hopefully he stays out a bit. Just be good to see if he can make any hay.
Fastest lap of the race, 124.6 and a 124.5 actually for Madison Down. So
he's fast.
Madison Down's fast at the moment. There's a chance. He needs a mid-24 this time by. Also a big chance, I reckon, Madison Down pits this lap. Jonathan, what's the latest?
And that's exactly what I was thinking. He needs to cover off that undercut from Phil Sell because it's working quite well here around a track where the tyres get worn out quite a bit. So let's have a look if Madison Down dives in, and he does. So this is a good pit stop for Madison. If he went 1 lap longer, I think that Walkinshaw car of Phil Sell would have jumped him.
Nicely done. So he's fighting off that undercut. It's the quickest run down pit lane almost for the entire season, just a 20-second transit, including the pit stop, as Ian Ford goes to the lead of the race.
Launch out with it.
Ethan Griggle almost getting the job done in the pit stop. Wow, that'd be tight at the exit. They just fall in behind Dane Warren.
He should have done that lap.
That was close.
He would have had every opportunity to jump Warren then, because he's actually faster than him, even with the tyre deck.
So instead of worrying about the undercut, he should have been thinking about trying to pick off the Red Bull car by going another lap maybe. I love that the strategy game has to play into this. It's like one little element to think about.
How did Ethan make up so much ground? He must have had a big pit entry.
He's made a massive gain here, Ethan Griggle. Very nearly got onto 3rd. So Ian Ford and Emily Jones, the last 2 to pit. Be interested to know if Emily's got any damage after what happened to her earlier. Her lap times are a little bit off.
Just a couple of seconds off the pace, so I imagine she got a bit of damage. Ian's just keeping it real, going long again.
When you pick up damage, how does that affect the car? Is it it just knocks the steering out and then you can't drive it straight? Or?
Yeah, it definitely changes the wheel alignment of them. And then if they get a bit of panel damage, it slows them down quite a lot in a straight line. So, yeah, any sort of damage on iRacing is bad. So it's not like the race car where, in real life, where we just tape them up and send them on their way and they kind of manage to do a similar lap time. These get really affected by it.
I saw that with Tim Slade on the weekend after Ash Walsh got caught up. Bit of tape on it. That was amazing. They put so much tape on that car and it was still pumping out very good lap times.
Don't they have those pre-prepared, those big sheets?
Yeah, the big sheets.
Gaffer tape?
Yep. Yeah. They're quite hard to apply.
It'd be quite hard to cut with your teeth, like you do normally gaffer tape.
Would be.
Probably rip a few out.
Yeah.
On board now with Jared Philsell.
Early pit stop for Jared hasn't really done anything for him, has it? He's still mid-pack.
But having said that, there was nothing to lose from where he was.
No, true.
I don't think he expected to still be looking at the back of that GRM car.
No, he was hoping for some kind of undercut. Poor Richard Hampstead's dropped to 11th after all this.
Yeah, it's not gone well.
No. So that's a tough night for him. Josh Muggleton's early pit stop. He was...
Is he the first one in?
Yeah, he was heavily affected by that crash at turn 2. Picked up a few spots as Ian Ford last to pit again in all three. Oh, that was close. Did he get that stopped? Gee, that was right on the limit if he managed to get it done. There's the old brickwork which you were talking about, the garages. Very cool. How much history did you notice there when you went racing? You would have been pretty young yourself.
Yeah, so it was 2008 in Formula Ford. Tim Blanchard was over there at the same time. Yeah, even just the way the circuit's presented and on the way in, you know, basically like the gardens and all that. It's all very UK spec. Ryan Walkinshaw would really appreciate it, I reckon. He's
very manicured.
He's very into that. He walks his cat around the gardens at the moment.
Well, he'll be a happy man tonight off the back of...
He'll be happy because he got a mention.
Walkinshaw domination. He's got a few mentions tonight, actually.
Loves it.
He's a big E-Series fan, a huge E-Series fan.
He's a fan of hearing his own name.
Ryan, if you're free next Tuesday, come on in. Come and join the panel next Tuesday. We'd love to have you here.
Oh, my, can you imagine?
We need a 7-second delay, but we would love it.
Extending an invite to Ryan Walkinshaw to sit in Nick's chair for next week.
Next Tuesday?
Yes.
Oh, imagine if it was a Tuesday after Gala.
All right, let's check out the onboard view. How realistic is that to what you would be looking at from the racing scene?
So that steering wheel layout is actually the Holden Racing Team, the Walkinshaw Holden Racing Team interior from 2012, 13, 14 there. And then we updated it midway through 2014. And now they've got something different. And then the Falcon or the Ford is actually the Tickford. I'm sure the Tickford interior. Yep. So
what about the vision in the vision you can see in the rear vision mirror, I should say?
Yep. Similar.
Is it similar to actually being in a supercar?
Yeah, so you kind of set the mirror, the center mirror to look out kind of the center and the left-hand side of the car. And then you use the two wing mirrors to try and position them somewhere. Oh, we got a lunge here. Jared's throwing up the inside.
And he'll make that move stick. Gee, that's a really good spot to try and make a move. If he can hang on to it, the left-hander.
Don't hang there.
At the bottom of the hill, and he's gone a long way. Falls back in behind him. Graham Hill Bend, unfortunately for Jared, is a left-hander. It just didn't work out. It's not over yet.
He gets impatient, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It's real racy.
You're lighting those rears up, and he was one of the early guys to pit, so he needs to try and get those tyres all the way to the finish today.
Rogers again just... they can do the same peak lap time as here, but he's just got that 0.2 of a second a lap. And he's just
much better apex going across the top through Hawthorne Bend.
I feel like Jared's going to leave this round going what could have been a little bit. He's had car speed. This hasn't got through the traffic as well.
Yeah, he's very aggressive as well. Frustrating night for Jared, and the championship is slipping away. There was 110 points we're hearing coming into this race. Now, if he stays fifth, he's going to hemorrhage another 24 points. There's a little bit of overlap, not quite.
He'll go in, surely.
Nick's egging him on. Now, will Ethan move that car over and park it on the right-hand side? There he goes.
Might as well try the whole outside line.
He can stay there, not quite. A little bit of exit oversteer. He's getting angry, and the championship is slipping away. It'll be 134 points off the back of this one.
It's a big final round, doesn't he?
Still in it. He would need Josh to forget that next Tuesday's on.
He needs Josh to find Tinder. He needs him to discover.
What happens if there's a power outage at Josh's house?
Well, that would be Josh's bad luck.
Is your friend's name Jake Bird?
What happens then?
We're going to need that. Then it's I did not
bad
start.
luck.
Yeah,
Wow,
it's a mechanical.
Seriously upsetting. Yeah, it is a mechanical.
Yeah,
that's true.
So at the moment, it's still mathematically possible, Jonathan, but this championship is slipping away from Jared Filsell.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this pass will help him that much, but it will certainly give him a boost of confidence. And I thought he was going to have a peak there, possibly into the final couple of corners. But at the end of the day, it means that this championship could be wrapped up as early as Oran Park, the first race of next round.
Yeah, very much looking forward to that. That was a track that I never got to go and see in real life, Oran Park.
Really?
Being from the wrong side of the country.
Did you ever race there, Nick?
Yes. Formula Ford and Aussie racing cars.
As good as everyone says?
Yeah, mega track. Real fun.
Looking forward to that. That'll be E-Series action next Tuesday. Oh, they're out in the gravel here. The original Paddock Hill bend used to run out quite wide there, and they decided to re-profile the corner, make it a little bit tighter, and then use that, what was the old racetrack as runoff now, which now has gravel on it as well.
Not a bad idea.
Yep. The whole track used to be the Indy circuit, which is turning right there, as Phil Sellers just about got this done now. That was aggressive. And they'll run side by side across the top and under the bridge.
Ryan will be loving this, watching his car.
On the outside, through Hawthorne Bend, he'll have to fall back in, maybe the over-under. Oh, this is nice.
He's done it.
He's got it too.
Good turn him around.
Up to Westfield, has to fall back in behind him. Tries he might, he just cannot get anything good gold out of his way.
Rise.
Not going to go to bed wondering tonight. Oh, and then drops the left rear off it.
Didn't need that, because now he's going to lose the opportunity to pass at turn 2, start of the final lap.
He's dropping wheels off everywhere at the moment. He's aggressive, he's angry. And he's almost out of laps. As his teammate skips away for what will be another win. Last lap. Madison down on for another podium.
Look at them. They do maximise the cars in this. It's quite good to see. They use all the road, bit of gravel trap at exit of 1.
Yep.
Madison, his peak lap time was really fast, but then hasn't been quite as consistent as the two ahead, and maybe making a few little mistakes, but another really solid night for him.
The guy who's quick right now is Ian Ford.
He pitted last.
Yeah, so he's making the most of those fresh tyres, but can't quite get onto the back of Jake Burton. Last time down the Pilgrims drop, and
huge lead.
Yeah, have a look at this, would you? Nearly 2-second gap. He's closing out another race on the English countryside. It's been kind to him. A first, a third, and a first.
He's had to earn it today. He's come from last in that second race. He didn't lead the first lap here. It's impressive.
Yeah, what's that? So pole position, 2 race wins and a third. That is just about as good as it gets.
You'd take that?
Yeah.
To be honest, if it was a bit easy to pass at the second track, he probably would have won that too.
True. He's had so much speed tonight. Walkinshaw Andretti United superstar Josh Rogers. He'll be heading to the final round with an almost unassailable lead. He picks up another race win in the Gfinity Supercars Eseries. And behind him, his teammate can only manage 5th. And that points gap has ballooned out. Initial read is 134 points, but we'll wait for confirmation on that. And now he can celebrate.
He's going to do donuts, you reckon? Something cool?
Hopefully we get to see some big burnouts from him. Typically he does. I'm guessing front straight burnouts today. If you've got any requests, Nick, now's the chance to
write your name.
With the K as well. Joshua K. Rogers. He's good. He could just about do that, I reckon. And that championship lead has ballooned out. So what's that? 7 race wins, 9 podiums out of 12 races so far. 13 races, I should say.
You'd take it, wouldn't you?
Not bad. Not bad. And closing this championship out. Doing it style. From here we head back to Australia for the final round. Oran Park, Phillip Island and Bathurst. 3 very cool tracks there with a lot of history. Amazing to think that out of all the Aussie tracks in iRacing, Oran Park's on there.
Yeah, no, it was one of the originals too, which is pretty, actually quite amazing. And be cool if they did a few more. If we could get a few more Aussie tracks that would make it a bit more usable for us supercar guys as well. So
I reckon one of the street circuits would be cool. Yeah. Like an Adelaide or a Townsville or something like that. That would be a cool circuit.
It's hard for them to get street circuits just out of...
to scan them at the right time.
Scanning them.
Here we go.
All right, what do we got here? I get the feeling it's going to surely fry it up on the start line. I'm just going to get out and get the checkered flag off the flagman or something. I don't know if she can do that. Here he goes.
Does he teach kids how to do this too?
I like to think so. So we're going for a couple of donuts and then he's going to throw it around. Bit of summer nats.
Maybe you could, I don't know if Scotty McLaughlin will take a bit of pointers from this.
He's got His burnouts aren't his strong point, that's for sure. Compared to
fair swipe.
Compared to qualifying, for example.
Oh yeah, okay.
Which is definitely a strong point. Everyone knows Shane does the best skids.
He does. He's had a bit of practice, hasn't he?
It's true. But the pressure is on to do less and less burnouts, and I'm sad to say that we'll probably get less burnouts next year.
If I win, I will do the filthiest burnout.
Shane said last week that he reckons that the change to the engine policy for next year could affect how many burnouts we get post-race. He's hoping that that doesn't happen.
Nah, if I get a win, I'll just...
Well, the only time
I
I
end up
got to
owning
see
the
you do
engine at the end of it.
It was so wet, it was more of a steam out or something.
No, I just torch those wets off that thing. You couldn't see the car.
It was very impressive down to the turn 9 hairpin. That was good stuff. Let's
use that
check
engine for the rest of the year too.
Did you?
Probably, yeah.
The final race of the night, Brands Hatch. About 45 minutes southeast of London, if you're wondering. In Kent, beautiful countryside down there. Used to be a farm, which the cyclists decided to take over and turn into a cycling track, which eventually became a racetrack. And it was all happening at turn 2 when the workplace law entry turned around. Ooh, that's interesting. Missing the fender there is your teammate, Jake.
He must have just clipped the spinning car.
Might have been involved down there, clearly with a little bit of evidence. So Emily Jones went dropping back through the pack. She started 5th. Pit stops. A question mark from Nick. Why did Dane Warren follow Josh into the pits? Maybe a chance there to have tried something different. At least it helped him stay ahead of Jared Gilsell and Madison Down. And then there was this battle pack. And this is a great fight. Definitely the fight of the race. Jared Filsell, who tried and tried and tried, but just could never get around Ethan Grigul, while his teammate went on to win his 7th race of the season, extending that championship lead. And he is looking very good now for the title, and sealing it with a nice smoky burnout. Not sure how much of that they'll get to see in Brands Hatch. It's a very Australian way of celebrating. We do have his teammate, Jared Filsell, who's been definitely the hard charger of the night. I think that's fair to say. You've been on it tonight. Let's check in with Jared. Can you hear us, buddy?
Yep, got you guys.
You were a pretty fiery man tonight. You were trying everything on Ethan Grigul. That was a great battle between you and Ethan.
Yeah, unfortunately, probably just ran out of tyre life there. He was 2 laps newer, so just couldn't get it done. I had a go, though.
You're still having a great run in this championship. You're currently 2nd. Josh is putting together a pretty good campaign as well. Can you pull off a miracle for the last round?
Probably not. We're going to need a lot of luck there to get up on him, unfortunately. But I think he's doing a very good job. I mean, he's definitely the benchmark, so he's giving me something to aim for, which is good. But more importantly, we're getting it done.
I've got to ask you about the move at Oulton Park. You and Richard Hampstead at the hairpin. Can you tell us what happened there?
A little bit of return serve.
Yes, that's what we wanted. You've got Nick Percat's official seal of approval, mate. Well done.
That's good.
Congratulations on a good night of racing. Jared, best of luck for the final round, mate. You've got a bit of a points deficit, but go win some races.
Thanks, guys. I'll do that.
So there you go. Return serve.
Perfect.
We love that. That's good. A bit of aggression,
I think Jared needs to find out where Josh lives and organise for someone to cut the power off at about 7:30 p.m.
Yeah, correct. Or send him some Uber Eats, which seems to be what they like to do to each other.
Exactly, yeah.
What? Yes. So when Jake Burton won his first race, Josh sent him a burger with no bun, no meat, no cheese.
It was just
to his
sauce and
house.
pickle.
It was just sauce and pickles in a box delivered to his door as a way of saying, well done on your first win. So you need to up your
and that is what you also received for being on the panel tonight. So congratulations.
Thank you. Can't wait for
Yours
it.
will be here in a moment.
Brilliant.
Excellent. While we wait for that to arrive, let's check out our final Shannon's classic moment of the night. All right, well, he's been in the thick of things tonight, Jared Filsell, and I won't be surprised if he pops up on our final Shannon's classic moment of the night. And here he is once again. He's putting his stake in for the $500 next week. Didn't quite get the job done, though.
Ethan's defence was very good. Didn't actually block hard to lose too much lap time, but positioned the car well.
So I think it'll be Ethan who could possibly pick up the money here.
I think Ethan should
He's had a good
cash
night
for this one if he does win it, yeah. Great job. Ethan's done a fantastic job tonight. Really good to see.
Yeah, a big turnaround over the last couple of races. Like you said, he doesn't really like the shorter distances, more of an enduro-style guy. So well done. Is Ethan Grigul your pick for Shannon's classic moment? Go to the website and let us know. That is our final moment for the night.
So voting is now officially open. Go and check that out. You can win yourself $500 just for voting. It's free and easy to do. And that is how they wipe out for the last night. Josh Rogers, a win, a third, a win, plus the pole award tonight. Not bad going at all.
Feel sorry for Emily Jones in that one. She was campaigning strongly until that incident at the start, dropped down to 9th. Bradley Myers again having a bit of a tough evening, and Richard Hempstead in and amongst a lot of the action, but didn't translate into results, unfortunately.
And that is the 5th time that Dane has finished second, yet to get his first win.
So close.
Yeah, unlucky. It's going to be coming soon. All right, stick around. We're going to wrap things up. Check out the championship points. On the other side of this, it's been another great night for Josh Rogers.
Are you a motoring enthusiast? Shannons are giving you the chance to win a trip to London and the 2020 Goodwood Revival, one of the biggest historic motorsport events in the world. Plus, tour through the English countryside in a Jaguar F-Pace for 15 days, visiting historic locations and unique motoring museums, with up to $5,000 spending money for eligible Shannons Club members. Plus, win a new Indian FTR 1200S motorcycle. To enter, get a quote on your special car, spouse's car, daily drive, your bike or home. Take out a new policy for even more chances of winning. Call Shannons on 13 46 46 or go online today.
Thanks to Shannons, you could be riding away with this amazing Indian FTR 1200S. Plus, there's also a trip to London up for grabs for the Goodwood Revival, a retro festival set in the 40s, 50s and 60s. There's lots to win. To enter, just go to shannons.com.au to request a quote. It's Tuesday, so that must mean it's a day for Josh Rogers to go and win some races in the E-Series. He is ticking them off. What a great performance once again tonight. A first, a third, a first, as Rogers continues his form. Been pretty much from Bathurst all the way through. No one has been able to get next to this guy. And he will go through to the final round, which is all Aussie tracks, as our series leader. So we now have the last round of the E-Series to go. We've got the last round of the Supercars to go. So it's going to be championship week next week.
It sure is.
It's all happening.
Wow.
We've got the trophy to give away in the studio. We've also got Plenty of trophies to give away in Newcastle. So what can we look forward to up there? It's a massive, massive weekend. The support categories are huge. Super 2 as well. Going to be huge.
Yeah, I think good weather, big crowds, good racing. Obviously, you got Super 2 as well with Bryce Forward's done a mega job this year. So I think, did he get crowned champion at
he's
Sandown?
got it. Similar to Scotty. He's got it wrapped up.
Yeah, that's pretty cool weekend for obviously Scotty winning his second. Bryce should win his first one. And then all the sport categories, I think we've got Aussie racing cars there.
Aussie
Utes will be there.
86.
Yeah, 86 is their last round of the championship.
Kiss.
I was just going to say, yes, plus the concerts.
This way?
Oh, God.
Nice. What is it? There we go. That one. You tell me, Bryony. I don't know. You're the rock star here.
I don't know what I'm doing with my hands.
You should stop doing that.
I'm looking forward to it. The concerts are sort of downtown from where they used to be. They used to run the concerts in the middle of the park there when we had Chisel playing, but they've moved the concert area. I think it's going to be maybe the biggest ever. Kiss headlining. That's
Where do we find
them? And the Jets as well. Closer to downtown Newcastle.
Right.
So that's your Saturday night. Absolutely.
Follow the crowds.
Lock, stock and plan.
If you want to go.
So it's going to be huge. The only championship which isn't wrapped up is ours, the E-Series. That's still on technically up for grabs, but going to be very hard to pull him back from here. It is 134 points. We can now officially draw a line between 2 and 3 because everyone from below that line out of contention for the final round. It's a Walkinshaw 1-2. They will also surely wrap up the teams championship.
Yep.
Pretty sure they've got that one done already.
You know what? I love it. Even though Josh has got one hand on the trophy, so to speak, that means that we've got 10 other drivers. Don't give a
they don't care. That's when you get out there and race.
They're just going to be racing hard for honour, for bragging rights, just having a bit of fun, going hard. It's actually going to be really awesome. Can't wait.
Cannot wait. Next week is going to be absolutely huge. Remember, 3 Aussie tracks. We've got Oran Park, we have Phillip Island, we've got Mount Panorama. Nick, 3 iconic tracks. What can we expect to see next week?
I can see a few crashes.
Yep. Get evens.
That'll be. Oh no, I just think the circuits they were going to.
Yep.
Again, Oran Park is a narrow circuit as well. Easy to drop a wheel, spear off the road at turn 1 into 2 there. I reckon it'll be quite good to tune in and. They'll race hard now.
Yeah,
obviously they're going to fire up.
Season's out. Hey, mate, congratulations on a good year. Best of luck for Newcastle. Thanks for being here.
No worries, thank you.
All right, that's all we've got time for. It's been a really good night on the Gfinity Supercars Eseries, brought to you by Shannon's. We'll catch you next week for the series finale. Good night.